The last at bat, this is something we've been talking about a lot this year because the Red Sox have had so many of these dramatic victories, but the Yankees actually have two more than the Red Sox have. You wouldn't think so with the Yankees playing so many blowouts this year. Welcome back to the show. Okay, 2 weeks to go. The Red Sox find themselves in a pressure series against the Yankees in New York. Stop me if you've heard this before. Bob Montgomery is here for Breakdown, and we actually have some late news to talk about, Bob. Because of that brawl Friday night against the Blue Jays, Darryl Strawberry has been suspended for 3 games, although the suspension does not start until Wednesday after the Red Sox leave town.
Yeah, so the strong left-handed bat of the Strawberry destroyed right field fence of Yankee Stadium will still be there.
Your thoughts on the Yankees? As John mentioned, to me, one of the more amazing things about this team is not that they've won so many games, but that they've been so quiet doing it. And John was talking about that in the package. There's been very little controversy, and this team has guys coming off the bench that could start for any other team in the league.
They do, John, Doug, and that's been something that's happened with the Yankee organization years back when they had great ball clubs. They had players who were probably all-star players that had they been playing on some other ball club. This Yankee ball club got off to such a great start and such a big lead into the American League East. I think they quietened everything, and because they were getting so much back sports page coverage, there wasn't any reason for George to get upset. Because I often think that he used to do a lot of those tirades, go into those tirades on purpose to get some of the public notice on that sport page.
But even though it has been quiet, and even though it's been perhaps unusually quiet for the Yankees this year, we must remember that in the first week of the season, when they get off to that bad start, there was talk about Torrey being fired.
He was making noises. George, you can't always keep him down. But one thing that is important, I think, for all of baseball, I think it's always great when a New York team, especially if it's the Yankees, are in a winning position. I think it's great for all of baseball when that happens.
The comparison that I'm making because of this Yankee team in recent history, 2 years ago, the Chicago Bulls won 72 games in the regular season, and everybody said, hey, it doesn't mean anything if they don't win the championship. Well, they did, of course, and that was the first of what has now become 3 in a row. Does this season end up being wasted for New York if they don't win it all?
Well, I think Al Trawick probably said it best. If they don't win the World Championships, you've had a bad year, no matter what the winning percentage is. And I'd be hard-pressed to find a different look on that, Doug. I think the Red Sox, if they don't get to postseason play after the kind of year they had, I think they will have had a bad year just as well.
All right, let's talk about the Red Sox. Clearly the lead is, well, let's just say it's getting a little bit more interesting, which I guess is all we could ask for coming down the last 2 weeks.
Are you worried yet or just concerned? I think you find a definition between those two and figure out which one you are.
The math is still in their favor.
Yeah, I think there's still a ball club that's going to wind up in postseason play. This is a ball club that has played so well all year long. They have come up against a little bit of a flat spot here in the season, and possibly some of that is due to maybe 3 or 4 players. When you go through the season and Darren Bragg, you saw those 17 last at-bat wins or come from behind wins. Darren Bragg is one of those guys that played a big role in that part, either driving in one of those important runs or scoring the run oftentimes. And certainly Darren Lewis has been right in the mix of everything that's gone on there. His bat has been outstanding most of the season. His defense has been outstanding all season long, and he has been in the mix of some of those late-inning ball games. And, of course, Mike Benjamin, what can you say about him? He's gone all over the place defensively. He's gone all over the place offensively, even up in the screen on occasion. We talk about hitting a wall. They've actually, those 3 players in particular, have hit a wall. This is what these 3 guys have done since August 26th. This covers a span of 11 ball games. Certainly the batting average tells you the story for them there a little bit. You didn't expect to get a lot of home runs from that trio of players anyway, so you didn't get that. The RBIs, about what you would normally expect to get. But the way these guys have been getting on base earlier in the year, you would certainly expect them to have scored more runs. Although the entire lineup now looks like it's been affected by the results of those 3 players.
And speaking of that lineup, Jimmy Williams making some changes again tonight, again trying to kickstart the offense, which has been a big part of this slump recently. Darren Lewis will get the night off. Darren Bragg will lead off and play center field tonight. And Trot Nixon will be in right, and Donnie Sadler gets to start at second in place of Mike Benjamin.
He gets another couple of left-handed bats back in his lineup. He gets a couple of guys a chance maybe to take a little more time off, think about what's going on this time of the season you're in. Also, I think Mike Stanley is returning back in the lineup tonight, and that's a bat that they missed without question the last couple of games against the Tigers. Since he's come over to the Red Sox just before the trading deadline, a .297 hitter with 7 home runs and 30 runs driven in. that's pretty strong medicine.
Real quickly, in the few seconds we have left, what do you look for tonight from Pedro Martinez? This is kind of a money start for him, right?
It is a money start. He's the kind of guy that you want to have the ball when you're trying to stop some bleeding, and certainly the Red Sox need to do just that with more than just a Band-Aid. This is not just a series against the New York Yankees, Doug. They need wins now, regardless of who they're playing, and it could be a little bit of a bonus time if they do happen to come against the New York Yankees. But don't expect the Toronto Blue Jays to continue on the hot pace. They have lost Pat Kenkin for a while. The remainder of the season, as a matter of fact.
That's right. He will be out, so that's a big factor for the Blue Jays. All right, Miney, thanks very much.
My pleasure, Doug.
All right, the game is coming up next from the Bronx. We're back to wrap up On Deck. After this, oh, there it is. We'll be going there shortly for the first pitch. Stick around. On Thursday, when the Sox wrap up their two-game series at Camden Yards, On Deck at 6:30. And then it's on to Chicago for the weekend, and we'll have two games from Comiskey Park. On Deck at 7:30 on Friday and at 1:30 on Sunday afternoon. And remember, Butch Stern with another post-game edition of 68 Sports Night coming up after tonight's ball game in New York with all of the day's sports news and more on tonight's ball game as well. Sean and Jerry are coming up next from the Bronx. It's the Red Sox with Pedro Martinez going for win number 19 for all of us at Red Sox On Deck. Enjoy it.
68 Sports presents Boston Red Sox baseball tonight from Yankee Stadium in New York. It's game one of a three-game series between the Red Sox and the New York Yankees. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. I'm Sean McDonough. It's great to have you with us as the Red Sox begin a very important road trip. They'll play two games here in New York, two in Baltimore, and then three over the weekend in Chicago. Many are saying that tonight is the most important game of the season for the Red Sox. They've been on the slide lately. They've lost 8 of the last 10, including 2 out of 3 over the weekend at home to Detroit. As a result, the Red Sox lead in the wild card race is down to 3 games, the smallest lead the Red Sox have had in the wild card chase since July 24th, and it's the closest the Toronto Blue Jays have been since late May. Red Sox losing again at home yesterday to Detroit, but after the game, Mo Vaughn said now is not the time to push the panic button.
I don't understand why everybody is getting so excited about this, that, and the other thing. We're still in first place in this wild card. We still got an opportunity to do some things. We just got to put some wins together. You know, that's the bottom line. I mean, it's no big formula to the situation. Go out there and play hard and play to your capabilities and let things happen.
I'm joined, as always, by Jerry Remy. Jerry, the big problem over the last 10 games for the Red Sox has been the offense, and once again tonight, Jimmy Williams has made some changes trying to find the right combination.
He really has. Trot Nixon back in the lineup for the Red Sox, also Donnie Sadler. Some of the players that got to the Red Sox at this point, Darren Lewis, guys like that, have really slumped lately, so Jimmy's got to make some changes, and can you imagine the pressure coming into Yankee Stadium in a pennant race with 2 young players? Hopefully they'll respond. The other thing tonight, Sean, Pedro Martinez, when you signed him to be your #1 starter, these are the kind of games he has to win. It doesn't have to be a 1-0 win. It could be 6-5, but he's got to win this ball game tonight.
And he'll be opposed tonight by El Duque, Orlando Hernandez. We'll have the first pitch of tonight's game from Yankee Stadium in just a moment. But first, back to our 68 Sports Studios. Here's Doug.
All right, Sean and Jerry, thanks so much. Welcome once again to Red Sox baseball. And I guess if you're a baseball fan around here, it doesn't get too much better than this. Meaningful games in September between the Red Sox and the Yankees. Of course, everybody around here are probably also hoping that these two teams may meet in another series about 3 weeks or so from now. But first things first, the Red Sox have to stop this slump. They have lost 8 out of their last 10, and they're looking to Pedro Martinez to stop the slump tonight. Tonight's pitches are brought to you by the New England Ford dealers. See your New England Ford dealer today. Second try for number 19 on the season for Pedro. His first try was last Tuesday when he lost to David Cone and the Yankees 3-2. Orlando Hernandez started that Wednesday game at Fenway that resulted in the Yankees clinching the division title, but El Duque didn't stick around long enough for the win. We'll see what happens tonight in the Bronx. Back to Sean and Jerry after this timeout.
Begin this very important series with the New York Yankees. Susan Waldman just sang a stirring rendition of the national anthem. And we're ready for tonight's starting lineups, brought to you by your friendly New England Dodge dealers. The more things change, the more things look like the new Dodge. For the Red Sox, Darren Bragg will lead off tonight and play center field as Darren Lewis has the night off. John Valentin is the third baseman. Batting third at first base, Mo Vaughn. The cleanup hitter, shortstop Nomar Garcia-Parra. Troy O'Leary is in left field. Mike Stanley returns to the starting lineup as the DH. He'll bat sixth. Trot Nixon is in the starting lineup tonight as the right fielder, and he'll bat 7th. Scott Hatteberg is the catcher and batting 9th. The second baseman, Donnie Sadler, against Orlando Hernandez.
El Duque was on the mound the night the Yankees clinched the American League East. That was at Fenway Park, but he was not very effective in that game. Only lasted 3 2/3 innings, allowing 5 hits and 4 earned runs. He walked 4, struck out 5, and did allow a home run. That was to Scott Hatteberg in that game. But he has been a much better pitcher at Yankee Stadium. At home this season, 6-1 with a 2.06 ERA. Much better here at the stadium than on the road.
And the defense behind him is brought to you by Toyota. The Yankees, a solid defensive team, 4th in the American League in fielding, behind only Baltimore, Tampa Bay, and Anaheim. They've made 93 errors in 147 games. They have Darryl Strawberry, Bernie Williams, and Paul O'Neill in the outfield from left to right. Scott Brocious, the third baseman. Derek Jeter is at short. Chuck Knobloch at second. Luis Sojo plays first as Tino Martinez is bothered by the flu, so the Red Sox catch a break there. And Jorge Posada is behind the plate. The umpires are Brian O'Nora calling the balls and strikes, with Tim Cheetah at first base, Rick Reed at second, and John Shulock has the plays at third. Jerry, to a man, for the most part, the Red Sox trying to downplay the sense of urgency. They talk about the pressure still being on Toronto and Texas because they're the teams that are behind and they need to win, and they need the Red Sox to lose if they're going to come back and overtake the Red Sox. But I think when you listen to what Steve Avery, among others, said yesterday, you know that inside many of these guys are thinking the situation is tenuous indeed.
There is no question about it. You know, Mo Vaughn had his say, but you expected that out of Vaughn, but I think Avery had it best. Everybody in that clubhouse knows what at stake. They've gone too far this season not to get into postseason play, and right now there are players feeling the pressure.
Darren Bragg ready to get this very important game started, and he takes strike 1. Bragg's hitting .285. He has 8 homers and 52 runs batted in. A ball high. Most of you have probably heard the story of 28-year-old Orlando Hernandez. He dropped the pitch in for strike 2. He defected from his native Cuba with 7 other people the day after Christmas last year, December 26, 1997. One-two pitch up and away. Like so many others who have defected from Cuba, he was in a very small boat, dangerous conditions, washed up in an island in the Caribbean, picked up by the U.S. Coast Guard 3 days later. Down the line, just foul off first.
Starts that he's made this season, the Yankees have averaged 7.2 runs per game in the games that he's pitched in. He's held opponents to a .230 batting average, but lefties have hit him well. Lefties at .290, right-handers only .157. You see a difference. When he faces right-handers, he drops down to the side more with his pitches.
And that's what Jimmy Williams was talking about before the game. He said, we really don't know anything about him other than what we saw in that one start. So we're looking at the statistics, and the numbers say put left-handed hitters in there, and that's what he has done tonight. Bragg thought about 2 on the ball hit down the line, but Paul O'Neill was an excellent outfielder. He was on it quickly, and as you could see from where that throw wound up, it's a good thing Bragg put on the brakes at first. A single to start the night for Darren Bragg.
Tried the curveball this time to Bragg. Bragg had 2 for 3 in the ball game yesterday, and today elevated to the leadoff spot with Darren Lewis on the bench. O'Neill really got to that ball quickly down that line, and Bragg had to put the brakes on, or he would have been out at second base.
Bragg at first for John Valentin. And that pitch hits him.
Well, this is already more offense than the Red Sox showed most of the weekend against the Tigers. You know, Sean, that last game that El Duque worked against the Red Sox in Boston, when they started to rough him up, he acted like he wanted out of the ball game. He kept looking in that dugout, and finally Joe Torre did take him out of the game.
I think Jimmy Williams wants to make certain that Valentin is okay, and he is. And the Red Sox with a chance for the early lead. First and second, nobody out. And the hitter is Mo Vaughn, the second leading hitter in the American League, with his .330 batting average, behind only Bernie Williams of the Yankees. 35 homers for Vaughn, 98 runs batted in. And Mo has been one of the few Red Sox hitters who has performed well lately. Fastball on the inside corner, 1 ball, 1 strike. The lowest average for the year with men in scoring position, up over 300. That's because he's been outstanding in these situations over the last month and change. In on the hands and fouled away to the left. They expect a crowd of about 40,000 here tonight. Warm for this time of the year in metropolitan New York, 75 degrees, the game time temperature.
One thing we did notice, too, about Hernandez last time he worked, he's not afraid to work inside to both right-handers and left-handers.
His 1-2 pitch, swung on and missed.
Well, that right there, I believe, is his out pitch against left-handed hitters, that slow curveball. He does not have much of a changeup, and I think that's one of the reasons lefties has hit him better this season. But fastball and then that curveball for the strikeout to move on.
One out, men still at first and second for the Red Sox. No score in the first. And the batter is Nomar Garcia-Parra. A pop foul out of play to the right. Nomar checks into this one at .321, 31 homers, 111 runs batted in. He's 6th in the American League in batting average, just out of the top 10 in homers. And he's tied with the Yankees' Paul O'Neill for 8th in the American League in runs batted in. Foul ball, straight back, 0-2.
And on the first 2 pitches of Omar, you see the difference in El Duque against those right-handers. More of a 3/4 drop-down delivery with both the fastball and the breaking ball. A little more difficult for those right-handers to pick up than the lefties. There it is, down to the side. That time it was the fastball and fouled straight back.
The 0-2 pitch. Another foul ball. Luis Sojo into the mound. A chat with Hernandez. After Orlando Hernandez was picked up on the small island in the Caribbean by the U.S. Coast Guard, he decided, rather than accept a visa to enter the United States, that he would establish residence in Costa Rica. Therefore, he became a free agent, and the bidding war was on, and the Yankees won the bidding war, signed him to a multi-year contract in March. Started the year in the minors, quickly made his way to the big club. Garcia-Parra hits one right at Knobloch. Jeter turns the double play. After a half inning, no score on the 68 Sports Red Sox television network.
I think the real difference between Wednesday night and
3 wins and 44 losses. Tonight they have Chuck Knobloch leading off. He's the second baseman. Derek Jeter is the shortstop. Paul O'Neill, the right fielder, hits third. The cleanup hitter, center fielder Bernie Williams. Chili Davis is the DH. Batting 6th in left field, Darryl Strawberry. The catcher is Jorge Posada. Batting 8th, the third baseman Scott Brocious. And the number 9 hitter is first baseman Luis Sojo against Pedro Martinez.
18-5, 18 wins, just behind Rick Helling and David Cohn, who both have 19. Pedro's second to Roger Clemens in ERA at 2.74. He's also second to Clemens in strikeouts, 227. Clemens has 234 on the season, and he is 1-1 against New York this season. He lost the last time out at Fenway, a 3-2 ball game. David Cohn just a little bit better in that game than Pedro Martinez.
He won a memorable game here in late May when he left in the middle innings, and the Red Sox had a huge lead, and they almost squandered it. That was the game you might recall in which Lou Merlone made a terrific defensive play on a ball hit up the middle to quiet a big Yankee rally. Here's Chuck Knobloch ready to get the bottom of the first started. 264, a career high 17 homers and 61 runs batted in. And Pedro throws a fastball right down the middle for strike one.
Pedro has a lot of fans at this ball game tonight, especially out in those right field bleachers.
Obviously a large Dominican population in this area, and many of them here tonight. Many of his countrymen cheering for Martinez. Breaking ball just a little bit high, apparently. There they are out in right center field with the flags on display. Very proud of Pedro and Sammy Sosa. And with good reason in each instance. Jerry, when your team, like the Red Sox, in a tight spot now, struggling to score, you have a promising start to the first inning and your two best hitters don't come through. Can that be deflating to a team right away?
Absolutely. But the good news, it's only the first inning. But when you get those men in scoring position, you get two big RBIs guys coming up, and you don't score a run, that is frustrating.
A pop-up in foul ground. Sadler got run into by Trot Nixon. And they had a very hard collision, and it looks like Nixon is hurt. Sadler appears to be a little wobbly, too. Looked like Nixon might have hit the top of his head, or rather hit like the front of his head, his mouth, off the top of Sadler's head.
Two young players hustling to make a play. You see Sadler's got himself set up to make it fairly easily, but here comes Nixon, knocks right into him and knocks the ball out of the glove. It looks like Nixon got caught right in the mouth as they made contact.
And he was grabbing for his mouth, and Sadler was reaching for the top of his head. So Knobloch has a second chance, and he pulls one foul. Still 2-2.
Sadler actually made a heck of a play on that. He went right to the top.
He's bleeding. You can see he's spitting blood, Trot Nixon. Swing and a miss. So the miscue does not prove costly as Martinez strikes out Knobloch.
Up high with the fastball that time for Pedro to pick up the strikeout on Knobloch. Knobloch really not one of the easier guys to strike out in the American League, but with that type of fastball, very few hitters are going to make contact when it's up above the letters.
Matter of fact, Knobloch, one of the most difficult batters in the American League to strike out. He fans just one every 10.5 plate appearances. 9th best ratio in the American League. Here's Derek Jeter, the number 3 hitter in the American League at 328. And he's being highly touted as an MVP candidate in the American League. He looked at a strike. Jeter leads the league in runs scored. He's second in hits, 5 behind the league leader Alex Rodriguez of Seattle. And Martinez looks to be throwing hard here in the first inning. He threw that one right by Jeter.
Yeah, so far in this game, with the exception of maybe one curveball, Pedro staying with old number 1. And it looks like, at least at the start of the game, he has a good one.
Swing and a miss. He threw another fastball right by him.
you've got the good fastball, especially early in the game, go ahead and use it. And that's what Pedro's doing tonight. I don't believe he's thrown one changeup yet in this game. And, you know, Pedro a lot of times relies too much, I think, on his changeup. It doesn't give his fastball enough credit.
Well, I was talking with Red Sox pitching coach Joe Kerrigan before the game. He said it's very important for Pedro to throw strike one to these Yankee hitters. Their statistics much worse when they're behind in the count. And he said in the last outing for Pedro against the Yankees, of his first 55 pitches of the ball game, 25 of them were thrown to Knobloch and Jeter. Paul O'Neill with a humpback line drive and a right. And Joe Kerrigan would like to see Pedro reduce the number of pitches because he thinks the Yankees' best hope to beat Pedro is to try to wear him out by consistently getting deep into the count. Another reason why plays like the drop foul ball hurt.
And you know, you look at this Yankee ball club, they are the best in the league at going deep into the count. They make pitches work, and that's why they're #1 in the league in on-base percentage. They like to, like any hitter, but they are more successful than all of getting themselves in good hitters' counts.
And they have 3 of the top 10 hitters in the league. Here's the league leader, Bernie Williams at .338. Paul O'Neill went up there at .317, and he has the first Yankee hit. He's at first with 2 outs in a scoreless game in the bottom of the first. Strike one on Williams.
And you've got to watch O'Neill at first base. 15 stolen bases on the season, but he's only been caught 1 time.
And he had a stolen base yesterday in their loss to the Toronto Blue Jays before he was ejected. Paul was called out on strikes, dropped his equipment at home plate, the bat and helmet and gloves, and got thrown out of the ball game. Williams sends it to right, didn't get all of it, and Nixon, bloodied but able to make the play. After 1, no score on the 68 Sports Red Sox television network.
They clean them. They polish them. They lavish them with extras. Maybe the reason Dodge Ram owners take such good care of their trucks is that their trucks take such good care of them. Dodge Ram, winner of Strategic Vision's Total Quality Award 4 years running. The rules have changed.
Remember what it was like to have someone you could count on? You can again with Data General. In today's competitive business world, trusting your computing partner to be there for you is essential. Data General is the enterprise NT solution choice you can lean on. Contact us today.
RCN, a better choice in phone, cable, and internet service. 1-800-RING-RCN.
And welcome back to our Boston studios. Doug Brown here. Let's check in on the Blue Jays. They're at the Jake tonight. Toronto also starting a 7-game road trip tonight. Top of the third, leading off against Dwight Gooden. It's Carlos Delgado. And he goes deep with his 32nd home run of the year, solo shot. But the Indians tie it in the bottom of the third. It's 1-1 now in Cleveland. And the Blue Jays have announced that Pat Henkin has tendonitis in his right shoulder. He will miss the rest of the regular season. Back to Sean and Jerry.
Well, that's a blow to the Blue Jays. But they still have excellent starting pitching without Henkin. And they seem to have a slightly easier schedule than the Red Sox down the stretch.
That Henkin's gone, and they're going to put Dave Stieb in the starting rotation for the remainder of the season.
Troy O'Leary. A swing and a foul tip for strike one as he begins the second in a scoreless game. 267 for O'Leary, 23 homers, 79 runs batted in. He sends that to shallow left center, and Bernie Williams takes charge. 1 out. Let's pause for station identification. This is the 68 Sports Red Sox television network. Mike Stanley is the batter in a scoreless game in the second. He's been out for 5 days with a strained right hamstring. An injury suffered when the Yankees were at Fenway last week. Sean McDonough, Jerry Remy. Tonight's game produced and directed by Tom Tedisco. Orlando Hernandez throws strike one, 1-1. 256 overall for Stanley. 297 since he joined the Red Sox. The dribbler foul down by Wendell Kim.
Watching Stanley in the pregame warm-ups today, batting practice. Seems like swinging the bat's fine for him, but running the bases may be a problem. Of course, Stanley does not have great speed, but what you got to be careful about, you know, you might smell an infield hit or maybe a double, and that's where he's going to have to back off.
One-two pitch in the dirt. Brian O'Nora gave Posada a new baseball. Orlando Hernandez is the older half-brother of Livan Hernandez, who was the MVP of the World Series last year for the Florida Marlins. Orlando dropped down and Stanley fouled it into the upper deck. El Duque was the star pitcher for Cuba's national team before he was banned from the sport by the Cuban government in October of 1996 because they alleged that he was planning to defect. Here it comes, right back here. And after being banished from baseball, Hernandez worked as a rehabilitation therapist in a psychiatric hospital in Cuba. Swing and a miss. Stanley strikes out for the second out of the second inning, and the
dropping down to the side with the breaking ball, and of course when you drop down to the side you want to keep that pitch away from the right-handed hitter. You're really helping out if you leave it inside, but in that case a perfect pitch away from Stanley, and he picks up the strikeout.
No score. Here is Trot Nixon, who had a terrific year with Pawtucket, more than 20 homers and 20 stolen bases, the first 20-20 man in Paw Sox history. Jim Rowe took a look at his tongue during the break between innings. Looked like Trot might have bit his tongue, and that was causing the bleeding after he collided with Donnie Sadler. Broken bat squirter out in front of the plate. Hernandez to Soho, and it's a 1-2-3 inning. After an inning and a half, no score. We'll be back after these words. We check rookie earned run average in the American League. The league leader in that category is the Yankees starter tonight, Orlando Hernandez, just a little bit better than the Devil Rays' Rolando Araujo. Araujo has 13 wins, tied with Kerry Wood of the Cubs for most wins by a rookie this season. We'll check the National League in a moment. Chili Davis ready to begin the home half of the second in a scoreless game. Davis is the DH. For the most part lately, he's been almost exclusively hitting from the right side of the plate because of a rib cage injury. He's back from the left side tonight. 283 for Davis. 2 homers, 7 runs batted in 21 games this year. 1 ball, 1 strike. Davis had ligament problems in his ankle at the beginning of the year. Played in the first 2 games of the season in Anaheim and then had surgery on his ankle. And he missed 118 games.
Well, as mentioned, Sean, while we're back in Boston doing these Yankee games, looked like he spent a lot of time in the weight room while he was recovering from that ankle injury. He looks big and he looks very strong.
Chili Davis, Darryl Strawberry, Jorge Posada coming up in the second inning. Martinez threw 13 pitches in the first inning, 11 strikes. Joe Kerrigan's message to Pedro to come right after these Yankee hitters was heated in the first inning. Davis sends that very high in left center. Troy O'Leary has it. 1 out. Let's check the National League Mazda League leaders. Rookie earned run average leader in the NL is Kerry Wood of the Cubs. Opponents hitting just 196 against Kerry Wood. Jose Silva, Masato Yoshi, and Kurt Ojala, the top 4 in the National League in rookie earned run average. Darryl Strawberry is the batter. He turned as if to bunt and took a fastball down and in. Shift on in the infield. 3 infielders on the right. John Valentin back at his old stomping ground where the shortstop ordinarily would be. Pedro Mislow 2-0.
Strawberry has been struggling some recently. 1 for his last 13, 6 for his last 38. But in his career, he is 3 for 9 against Pedro.
That appeared to be a swing. It was, said third base umpire John Shulock. Bounce to Garcia Parra, playing where the second baseman ordinarily would be. The shift pays off as Strawberry bounced one right into the shift, and there are 2 down here in the Yankee second.
Even at second base, Nomar likes to charge the ball and play it on the run, just like he does at shortstop. He's not comfortable staying back on the ball, and that's the way he is most comfortable making all plays.
2 outs and the bases empty, and a scoreless game in the second inning. Here's Jorge Posada, the Yankee catcher, at 270. 16 homers and 60 runs batted in. Posada is a switch hitter. And a much better hitter right-handed. He's hitting just .221 from the left. Brian Honora sends Pedro a new ball after that one went in the dirt.
The Yankees have the same amount of home runs as the Red Sox on the season, but they do not have a guy in the top 10 in home runs. They really spread them throughout their lineup.
Their team leader in home runs is Tino Martinez, who has 25. And as we mentioned, he's not in action tonight, bothered by the flu. The Yankees this year do have great balance. They've established an American League record with 5 players in double figures in both home runs and stolen bases. Garcia Parra bobbles, recovers, and throws him out. Well, Nomar was one more bobble away from his 25th error of the season, a total that has been rising rapidly. He made a costly error yesterday, but he avoided the miscue on this play to end the inning. After 2, no score on the 68 Sports Red Sox television network. Third, of course, the main focus in baseball these days is the home run race, brought to you tonight by Gillette Mach 3, the first triple blade razor. Sammy Sosa with a memorable day yesterday as he hit 2 at Wrigley Field to catch Mark McGwire, now at 62 apiece. McGwire in action in just a minute or so in Pittsburgh. Against Pittsburgh, rather, at St. Louis. He'll be taking his swings against Jason Schmidt. And the Cubs are in San Diego tonight with Sterling Hitchcock on the mound, pitching to Sammy Sosa. Scott Hatteberg, a swing and a miss for strike 1 on the first pitch of the third inning. Hatteberg hitting .274, 12 homers, 39 runs batted in. What happens now if Sosa pulls away and goes on to win this? There was so much hoopla about McGwire because he was the first to reach 62. The big exhibit now at the Hall of Fame. Check swing. Strike, said John Shulock.
It's interesting, Sean. You know, we seem to have lost interest in a lot of that after McGwire had that memorable home run. But those folks in Chicago haven't forgot about Sammy Sosa. They are really supporting him big time.
Tremendous scene at Wrigley yesterday. That pitch hit Hatteberg on the foot. Breaking ball that caught Scott. Second batter hit already by Hernandez. He hit Valentin back in the first.
And he's only hit 4 coming into the game tonight, but already has 2 more with Valentin, and now the breaking ball off the foot of Scott Hatteberg. I still say somebody's going to hit 70. I just have that feeling they're going to get that close to 70 the way they're going. They go into these streaks and they pick up 2, 3, 4 in a couple of games.
Well, McGuire has really tailed off. I believe he's 1 for 14 since hitting the 62nd homer, and last night he left the game with back spasms. Donnie Sadler trying to bunt, fouls it off. Sadler hitting .253 in 47 games for the Red Sox this year with 2 homers, 13 runs batted in. He has also sacrificed 3 times.
It had to be quite an emotional letdown for McGuire, I think, all that he went through, and to finally get that number 62 past Roger Maris, and I think he's taken some time off, the back problems, and of course he has to face Randy Johnson just a couple of days ago. That doesn't help.
No. Brocious in on the grass at third. Sadler squared the bunt again and took a ball low. Soho charging from first. Do you think a bunt is definitely the play here?
Well, I think that now with the count running 1-1, it's possible he could switch off to a hit and run, but they have to do something. They just can't stand around. They're not scoring runs. They're not getting many hits. You've got to try to force some offense. And of course, anytime Pedro pitches, you like to get on top with that 1 run.
Sadler turns the bunt again and gets it down. Hernandez throws to Knobloch covering for the out. Hatteberg in scoring position. It's a sacrifice. The play 1-4 on Sadler. We mentioned at the top of the telecast, during the last 10 games, 8 of which have resulted in losses for the Red Sox, the offense has been dreadful as compared to the overall season numbers. The average in the last 10 games, 203. It's 214 with men in scoring position, and they're averaging 2 runs per game fewer than their season average of 5.4. Darren Bragg. Single to right to open the ball game. He was stranded at second in the first inning. He takes a ball just a little bit up and in. The 1-0 pitch is a strike on the outer part of the plate.
Yeah, that's the changeup that time by El Duque, and that's certainly his 3rd best pitch.
The outfield plays Bragg to pull with the exception of Strawberry left straightaway, and he's shallow. Bragg fouled one back. 1-2. Red Sox have had a tough time lately, and the Yankees have tailed way off their record-setting pace of most of the season. The Yankees are 11-14 in their last 25 games. But they're still 59 games over the 500 mark for the year with their 103-44 record. The crowd wants another strikeout. The 1-2. Backdoor pitch missed. The Yankees certainly did not help the Red Sox cause over the weekend when they lost 3 out of 4 to Toronto. A couple of Blue Jays saying after yesterday's game as they left town that brawl they had Friday night really helped to motivate the Blue Jays. You wouldn't think they would need much motivation given the situation already. But Toronto left here having won 14 out of 16 as they head to Cleveland. Bragg strikes out for the second out of the inning. That's the third strikeout of the night for Orlando Hernandez.
He had 5 last time he faced the Red Sox. That was in 3 2/3. His high on the season is 13. He had 13 strikeouts against the Texas Rangers. Right there, he'll throw the fastball by Darren Bragg to pick up that strikeout.
Two outs, Hatterberg at second. No score in the third inning. The batter, John Valentin, was hit by a pitch in the first. Check swing at a ball, low and away. And a ball high. 2-0. Hernandez trying to help the Yankees break a 3-game losing streak. They lost the last 3 of that Toronto series. Another ball inside of Valentin. Now it's 3-0. Mo Vaughn is on deck. He had the green light. He lines one to center. Williams started back. Now comes in and makes the tumbling catch. Jimmy Williams turned Valentin loose on 3-0. And that's interesting with Mo Vaughn on deck. Valentin hit it well, but it was caught by Williams. Heading to the bottom of the third. No score on the 68 Sports Red Sox television network.
Come out to Fan Appreciation Days at Friendly Fenway on September 25th and 26th for a chance to win one of 2 Volkswagen New Beetles. Compliments of the Red Sox and Volkswagen of America. All fans entering the park with a game ticket will be automatically entered into the drawing. To enter by mail, send in a 3x5 card with your name, address, and telephone number to Red Sox Volkswagen New Beetle giveaway, 4 Yorkie Way, Boston, Mass. 02215. Entries must be received by September 19th.
I have already registered. Scott Brocious trying to dump one in shallow center. Darren Bragg makes a terrific catch. Well, just a moment ago, Bernie Williams caught a sinking line drive from John Valentin. It looked like Williams caught it with his bare hand as much as anything else. And now Bragg pulled for a moment off the bat, but boy, did he recover quickly.
Yeah, he got a very late break on this and then really had to come hard, picked it right off the grass to pick up the out. And you're right, that one on Bernie Williams looked like he caught more with his bare hand than with the glove hand. Here's Bernie's. Watch the bare hand just about trap this ball into the glove.
That has to smart a little. It was a line drive. Luis Sojo, a swing and a miss for strike 1. 230 for Sojo. Jerry, I was surprised Valentin had the green light on 3-0. He did hit a line drive, but Jimmy Williams talked before the game about how the numbers are so much better for left-handed hitters against El Duque. Valentin struggled all year with men in scoring position. You have Mo Vaughn. If he's not your best hitter, he's one of your 2 best hitters on deck, and he's a left-handed hitter.
You know, it's one thing to not be scoring runs and to try to be aggressive. But it's another thing to have Mo Vaughn coming to the plate with a couple of men on base with that short right field fence here at Yankee Stadium. Matter of fact, I was thinking along the lines of taking 2 pitches.
Yes. Sojo slashes and fouls one out of play.
That's what managers generally do when teams are in hitting slumps, though. They'll give a lot of green light signs on 3-0 They'll do a lot of hit and running. They'll bunt to get men in a scoring position, anything to try to generate some offense and get confidence back in a lineup.
Jimmy Williams was talking before the game that right now he doesn't feel the need to do anything special. He said he's just trying to do whatever he can to keep the team loose and relaxed. But with each day, at the very least, they have to answer more and more questions because the media onslaught is growing. And with each game that comes off the wild card lead, there's mounting concern.
And that filters right through the clubhouse, from the manager down through the coaches, down through the players, down through the trainers. Everybody's aware of what they read, what they see on television, and that has an effect.
As you might be able to tell from this at bat, Soho does not walk much. He's walked 3 times this year. He's had 122 at bats.
3 walks, 13 strikeouts. That's it. And he's not up there very long usually.
He's up with 1 out and the base is empty in a scoreless game in the 3rd. He'll be followed by Chuck Knobloch. Strike 3. Wicked breaking ball. Soho thought it was low, and he barks at Brian O'Nora. And Martinez has his 3rd strikeout of the ball game.
From a player's point of view, when you bail out and buckle as much as Soho did on that breaking ball, you have no right to say anything to the umpire. Watch Soho. He's got no chance. I mean, he's gone.
And falls down, he said, and it certainly was knee-high as it went by him, as we saw clearly from the side angle.
Well, you know what? As far as away from the plate as he was, how could he see it?
Chuck Knobloch takes a strike. He struck out swinging as the first batter of the night for the Yankees. I guess Soho thinks he's Rod Carew and he's supposed to get all the close calls.
3 walks out of the season. You can't be complaining about
That's right. What a knowledge of the strike zone. He'll offer up all 3 of his walks as evidence of his keen eye. 1-1 on Knobloch. Pop foul out of play. 1-2. When we talk about the pressure, teams fading down the stretch, other teams in pursuit, Jimmy Williams certainly has plenty of experience with this on both sides. He was a coach in Atlanta and Braves teams that won division titles on the last weekend of the season, second to last day and last day during Jimmy's 6+ years there. And of course, he was the manager of the Toronto Blue Jays when they had one of the notable collapses in recent times, losing to Detroit in the last week of the season. Troy O'Leary makes the running catch, and Martinez has a 1-2-3 inning. He's doing his part tonight. The Yankees have had just 1 base runner through 3. But the game is scoreless as we head to the 4th on the 68 Sports Red Sox television network.
No score. Red Sox, the Yankees on the Dunkin' Donuts scoreboard. The All-Star Game's coming to Boston for 1999, and official All-Star Game merchandise is now available online. Log on to RedSox.com to purchase the same selection that is available at the ballpark.
Well, we can update the action from Cleveland tonight. The Indians have taken a 2-1 lead over the Toronto Blue Jays. And they're now in the 5th inning. Carlos Delgado homered earlier in the ballgame for Toronto, and David Justice has homered for Cleveland. Mo Vaughn fouled one away. Vaughn struck out swinging his first time up. One ball, 1 strike. Vaughn, Garcia, Parra, and O'Leary, the Red Sox, have had just 1 hit in this game, and that was the first batter of the night. Darren Bragg single to right. Boston has had 2 other base runners as Hernandez has hit 2 batters. 1-2. The Yankees have had just one base runner. It's been a pitcher's duel between Hernandez and Martinez. Ball 2. Fouled off his foot.
Well, you had a visit from a friend before the ball game, somebody that used to coach at UMass.
Yes, John Calipari, now the coach of the New Jersey Nets. He has many other titles. He basically runs the whole franchise over there. But there's Coach Cal in the Yankee owner's box tonight. Still cheers for the Red Sox. Became a Red Sox fan when he was in Boston. Fly ball to center. And Bernie Williams had it.
Well, there again, El Duque doing a nice job keeping that fastball inside, not allowing Mo to get extended. And, of course, anytime you are a pitcher here at Yankee Stadium, you love to use center field for those long fly balls. 408 to straightaway center. You mentioned he's not afraid to come inside with the fastball. Mo could not get extended, couldn't pull the ball. And the first out of the fourth.
Nomar takes a strike on the inside corner. He bounced into a 4-6-3 double play that ended the first. That was the best chance of the night for either team. The Red Sox got the first 2 men on in the first, but Bond struck out. And Garcia Parra hit into the inning-ending double play. He missed the breaking ball 0-2. You wonder, Jerry, with the rest of the team struggling, that puts that much more pressure on Vaughn and Garcia Parra, perhaps from time to time, to try to do too much. And he hits a little looper over the head of Soho. Nomar will stop at first. And now Soho throws behind him to Hernandez. But Garcia Parra has a bloop single to right.
Well, I think that's so true, Sean, what you say, because when you have the bulk of your lineup struggling, and the only 2 guys that have really been hitting the ball are Nomar and Mo, they take it upon themselves. You know, we have to do everything. You look for anything that'll change an offense around. Maybe a bloop base hit. That's a pretty good pitch by El Duque, but Nomar just making contact, staying away from the strikeout, and dropping it down that right field line for a base hit.
Well, earlier in the season, when Nomar had the 24-game hit streak, second long hitting streak of his brief major league career, Jimmy Williams was talking about one of the reasons why he can have a long hit streak is that he can get hits on pitches like that very few other hitters could even put in play. Nomar not only can put them in a fair territory, but pick up base hits off them.
Ugly hits. He can get some ugly hits.
He can. An amazing ability to reach a wide variety of pitches and hit them sharply enough to deliver a hit. It's the second Red Sox hit. They're out hitting the Yankees 2-1. Neither team has scored. We're in the 4th inning. Troy O'Leary waits for a 1-0 pitch with 1 out as the throw went to first.
See, for me, Sean, here's a very key member right here of this offense right now. Troy O'Leary has got to get heated up these last couple of weeks. When he does, this is a totally different lineup. He struggled all season long on the road.
And did well enough at home in the first half of the season, have very respectable numbers. But he has really tailed off here in the second half. We talked a lot about John Ballantyne, the financial commitment the Red Sox made to him in the offseason with the expectation of a certain return. And really the same is true of Troy O'Leary. They made a major commitment to him in the offseason. And for much of this year, he was delivering at about the rate you would expect based on that commitment, but not lately. Garcia Parra runs on a 1-1, and O'Leary hits it weakly to second, and Knobloch flips to Soho for the out.
Now, see, unless the hit and run play was on, and I doubt very much that it was with O'Leary at the plate, there's a case again where he got himself out by chasing a bad pitch. Now, Nomar's got a pretty good chance of stealing a bag there, getting in the scoring position. If you take that pitch, you got a man in scoring position with the 1 out. Instead, again, O'Leary looked like he chased a bad pitch, a ball down and away. He tried to pull the ball, and the result, the ground ball to second base. That's one there. I mean, if you're in a groove, that's the ball you shoot to the opposite field, not to second base.
Mike Stanley trying to bring in the first run of the game. Takes a breaking ball for a strike. Stanley struck out swinging in the second. He was one of the veterans talking before the game about the approach he thinks the Red Sox need to take, that they're still in the driver's seat. So those other teams are still 3, 4.5 games behind us. The pressure's on them to continue to make up the ground.
And that's true. I mean, all that what they say is true, but the fact is they have not played good baseball.
No.
You know, had they been playing good baseball and you got this 3-game lead, you say, well, okay, we're doing all right. We're going to be fine. But it's down to 3, and they have not played good baseball.
No.
That's the scary part about it.
And, of course, the Blue Jays that played exceedingly well while winning 14 of 16. Stanley grounds it down to third. He's barely moving down the line. Rosas decides to tag Garcia Parra rather than risk the throw. And you can see the hamstring injury is really still very much a factor for Stanley. He could hardly get down the first base line. Back after these words from your local stations. This is the 68 Sports Red Sox Television Network.
The Sox battle the Yankees tomorrow night before heading to Baltimore. Nesson has tomorrow and Wednesday night's ball games. We'll pick up the action in Game 2 of the Orioles series from Camden Yards on Thursday night. Tune in Red Sox on Deck with your host Doug Brown beginning at 6:30 over most of our 68 Sports Television Network.
Scoreless game, bottom of the fourth, and Derek Jeter leads off for New York. He takes the fastball inside. Jeter struck out swinging in the first. Pedro Martinez has been outstanding. He's retired 7 in a row. The Yankees have had just one base runner through 3 innings on the first inning single by Paul O'Neill. Foul to the screen. A ball and a strike on Jeter.
Talking briefly with Don Zimmer on the field before the game today, and he could not stop talking about Derek Jeter. He said not only is a baseball player, he said, but this is a kid that you'd love to have for a son and be very proud of him. He said he is just a class act all the way.
You know, he has become a fan favorite here in New York. I guess he's not seeing Mariah Carey anymore, though. Is that true? I know you stay up with the gossip.
Yeah, I think George Steinbrenner put an end to that, didn't he? No privacy. They couldn't have any. Everywhere they went, they were bothered by people. You know,
yes.
2 celebrities here in New York.
You can relate to that.
Yeah.
Strike 3. Brian O'Nora rings up Jeter on a pitch that might have been off the outside corner. But the way these pitchers are going, they deserve the benefit of the doubt.
Well, the patent that time against Jeter, early inside, later outside. And here's a perfect pitch on the outside corner, the second time that Pedro has got Jeter tonight. And that's a pitch you have to have. That's a good pitch.
Well framed by Hatterberg. Brian O'Nora is another one of those younger umpires who seems to have a bit more generous strike zone than some of his older colleagues. Paul O'Neill, the only Yankee base runner of the night, is at the plate. And O'Nora is liable to hear it from O'Neill if he gets one of those pitches called a strike while he's up there. A strike, 1-1.
O'Neill got tossed yesterday, didn't he, in that
yes,
ball game?
He did. First time this year that the often temperamental O'Neill was tossed, but boy, is he a terrific player. He tries the inside out one to the left, and he does. And Omar was playing up the middle. He scampered as quickly as he could to his right, but couldn't get it. So the Yankees have had 2 base runners, O'Neill in the first and O'Neill here in the fourth.
You know, the first year that he came over to the American League, Sean, you watch him play and you say, all this guy does is complain. But you know what? All this guy does is play. He's been a terrific player for the Yankees. Pulled the ball last time. This time the inside-out swing for the ground ball base hit by Nomar.
Well, he's the kind of guy, if he's on your team, you'll love him because he is an all-out competitor.
Yep.
And on the other side, you want to tell him to pipe down every now and then. But by all accounts, a likable guy. Paul O'Neill at first with 1 out. Bernie Williams, the hitter. Ball 1 low. Williams fly to right to end the first. .337 now for the league's leading hitter. 24 homers, 91 runs batted in. Of course, his power numbers would be a lot more impressive had he not missed 31 games with a knee injury earlier in the year. Chopped on the right side. Sadler looked at second, wisely went to first to Vaughn. Williams is out. O'Neill's in scoring position with 2 down in a scoreless game in the 4th inning.
Never hurts to take the look at second to see if you have a chance, but when you have no chance, make sure you get that 1 out. Cut fastball, I think, that time. We're seeing more and more of that cut fastball from Pedro over his last 3 or 4 starts.
The Yankees have their first runner in scoring position against Pedro with 2 outs here in the 4th inning. O'Neill at second. And Chili Davis at the plate. Ball 1 low. There was some speculation here in the New York area when Davis had the serious ankle injury earlier in the year that he might retire. But he said he never gave that serious thought. Now 38 years old. He says he is definitely going to come back and play next year. He pops one into the seats, third base side, just beyond the Boston dugout. .330 career home runs for Davis. Only Mickey Mantle and Eddie Murray have more home runs among switch hitters in Major League history. Former Red Sox outfielder Reggie Smith, 4th on the list. And that's a well-hit ball to center. But Darren Bragg has it just shy of the warning track. After 4, no score on the 68 Sports Red Sox television network.
Yankee Stadium in the Bronx, no score on the Dunkin' Donuts scoreboard after 4 innings. The Tampa Bay Devil Rays make their final appearance at Fenway September 21st to the 23rd. The Sox are looking to secure postseason place, so come on out and cheer the home team. For 24-hour ticketing, call 617-482-4SOX.
No, what a game. Red Sox baseball, what a game.
Red Sox baseball.
What a game. And just because it's coming to the end of the season and this is like game number 203 that you've done this year, don't get a little sloppy down the stretch now.
That was not on there, but I'll add it anytime you'd like.
There you go. I will not hold you accountable then. Trot Nixon begins the 5th in a scoreless game. He bounced back to Hernandez in the 2nd. 0 for 1 is Nixon. Hedberg and Sadler to follow. He slams one foul off the facing of the upper deck. Just a little bit outside as Hernandez changed speeds, 1 and 2. Swing and a miss. Nixon goes down swinging, almost got the catcher Posada with his follow-through, and that is 4 strikeouts now for Orlando Hernandez.
Picks up this strikeout on the changeup, but Posada wanted that ball away. It'll stay down and in. But still Nixon cannot make contact and almost got Posada on that backswing. Had to quickly duck to his left to get out of the way of the backswing by Trot Nixon.
1 out, Scott Hatteberg, the hitter. He took a breaking ball off the foot to reach base. Back in the third, he was stranded at second. Red Sox have left 3 men on. And they've hit into a double play. The Yankees have stranded 2. Hatteberg sends one into the seats in left. The best the Red Sox can do in the season series with New York is a split. Yankees lead the season series 6-4 with just these 2 games remaining. The 1-1 pitch dropped in for a strike. Yankees have had the upper hand in recent years. They won 4 of the last 5 season series from the Red Sox. 8-4 against the Red Sox last year. And the Sox have had a problem at Yankee Stadium. They've lost 20 of the last 29 here. Little pop-up, shallow left center. Williams stepped in front of Strawberry to make the catch for the 2nd out of the 5th inning.
Well, one thing that El Duque is showing tonight, much better than last time he faced the Red Sox at Fenway, is that changeup to those left-handed hitters. He's thrown quite a few of them tonight. That was an excellent one to Hatteberg, down and away. They say he's a heck of an athlete. They say he could be a shortstop or a center fielder defensively. They don't know how much he'd hit, but an excellent athlete.
Donnie Sadler is the batter. He turned a bunt, took a breaking ball for a strike. Sadler dropped down a sacrifice bunt his first time up. No score, each team with 2 hits. Neither has made an error. And Sadler pops it up. Derek Jeter has it. It's a 1-2-3 inning for Hernandez. Halfway through the ballgame, no score. This is the 68 Sports Red Sox television network. Each team with 2 hits after 4.5 innings. Friends, we remind you this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Boston Red Sox and WABU TV channel 68 and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of the Boston Red Sox and WABU TV. Pedro Martinez pitches to Darryl Strawberry to begin the home half of the 5th. Darryl turned as if the bunt and took a ball low. Shift on again in the infield. 3 infielders on the right side for Strawberry. We grounded out to Nomar Garcia-Parra. His first time up. Nomar position where he is now on the right side. Looks like he's trying to bunt to the left. We'll say, okay, if you're going to put that shift on, I'm going to drop one down the third base line and take the free hit.
And that's part of the idea of the shift. You want to bunt down the third baseline, go right ahead. There's a guy that has 24 home runs on the season. We'll give you the single.
Swing and a miss. I mentioned earlier the Yankees, the first American League team ever with 5 players in double figures in home runs and stolen bases. Bernie Williams, Paul O'Neill, Chuck Knobloch, Derek Jeter, and Scott Brocious. Those 5 players. The Major League record is 6. 6 Cincinnati Reds were in double figures in stolen bases and homers in 1991. But the Yankees have a couple of other players with a chance to do it, including Strawberry. He has the 24 homers. He needs 3 more stolen bases. He has 7. And Chad Curtis, with just 1 more home run, would give the Yankees 6 players in double figures in homers and steals, as Curtis has 9 homers and 21 stolen bases. He is not in the lineup tonight. The 2-2 to Strawberry. Ripped to right, sinking fast for a hit. The 3rd hit for New York. And it's the first time tonight the Yankees have had the lead man on.
We mentioned Strawberry has had some success against Martinez. That's his 4th hit now and 11 at-bats against Pedro. Again, it looked to be that cut fastball down and in, and that down and in area to Strawberry is a very dangerous place to be. Darrell was involved in that brawl again with Roger Clemens here at Yankee Stadium.
He received his sentence today from the American League office, a 3-game suspension. But apparently he's not going to begin serving it until this series is over.
Don Zimmer also got a fine today levied on him by the American League of $300 for his being ejected in that ball game.
Well, that would just be a bad day at the track for Zim.
Yeah, he'll make that up easily. He said, I want to see if Riley's fine. He said, Riley called me a name. That's why I got so hot. He said, let's see what's in that report about Riley.
Can you share with us the name Mike Riley called him?
Not unless we go late night here or something. And you know how Zim so eloquently said that.
Yes, I'm sure he did. Well, I'm not going to feel sorry for him financially after the story he told us about his house in Florida.
Unbelievable.
Posada with a 1-1 pitch, strike 2. We were talking with Don Zimmer before the game today on the field. He mentioned that the Yankees are heading to Tampa after this series with the Red Sox is completed. He was hoping to get to his home in Treasure Island, Florida, but won't have enough time while he's there. Been living there for 44 years. And when he bought the house, he didn't have 2 nickels to rub together, and his monthly mortgage payment was $103. And the mortgage has long since been paid off. He said even with the taxes and other things factored in, some fees, his total payment was $143 a month.
Yeah, so you think he's got some tin cans buried in that backyard with some stash in it?
Well, unfortunately, every time a Red Sox team starts to have a problem late in the season when they're involved in a race, 1978 comes up again. It's unfortunate for you, too, because you were part of the team, but Don Zimmer seems to be the one who more often than not has to answer questions about it. And the 3-game situation tonight was no exception.
He told us before the game, Sean, he said, the 2 teams that I'm rooting for to get in the playoffs are both teams that I manage, the Red Sox and the Chicago Cubs.
He said they both fired me, but I'm still cheering for them.
Right.
The Red Sox and the Cubs. Strawberry at first, nobody out. Scoreless game in the 5th inning. The 1-2 to Posada. Hit on the ground, base hit right field. Strawberry round second, heads for third. Nixon throw cut off. And New York has first and third and nobody out.
That may have been the changeup. I believe it was the changeup for Martinez. It was down, but right over the heart of the plate. And Posada will pull the ball in that hole between first and second. Strawberry, no hesitation at all. He's going to challenge the rookie out in the outfield, Trot Nixon. Nixon with a strong throw, but it's cut off by Donnie Sadler at second base. Nixon's got a very good throwing arm from right field, but that throw would have been offline anyway.
This early in the game, Jimmy Williams decides to play the infield back, go for the double play, and concede a run here. Scott Brocious trying to deliver the first run of the night. Martinez could really use a strikeout here. Brocious robbed of a hit on a diving catch by Darren Bragg in center field in the 3rd. Brocious does strike out 92 times this year. Fouled out of play to the right. 0-2. Brocious will be followed by Luis Sojo, who struck out his first time up. Brocious, second best hitter in the American League this year with men in scoring position at .361. Only the Royals' Jose Offerman has been better. As a result, Brocious is 87 runs batted in. Got a terrific first season for New York. The 0-2. Fastball just missed. Hatterberg tried to bring it back, but Brian O'Nora didn't go for it. The 87 runs batted in for Brocious this year, a career high. He hasn't hit higher than 7th in the batting order. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. And it looks like it'd be a good idea for Pedro to stick with that fastball more regularly.
I was just going to say the same thing. I mean, tonight he's got a very good fastball, and when he needed the strikeout, right back to number 1, and picks up the outside corner. No contact by Brocious. And a guy who's had a lot of success driving in runs, frustrated with that at bat.
Now Luis Sojo. You wonder if the Yankees might put a play on with Sojo, a slap hitter up there.
See, to me, Sean, this guy's more dangerous in this situation than a guy like Brocious. Brocious is a strikeout guy. Sojo, a guy that's going to probably put the bat on the ball, or most of the time does. And that's a little scary in these situations when you really could use another strikeout.
Sojo's strikeout was just his 14th of the year in 123 at-bats.
And don't look for him to get to 2 strikes. He'll be hacking early in the count.
He has hit into a bunch of double plays, however, given his limited at-bats. He's had 123 at-bats, and he's hit into 5 double plays. No score in the 5th inning. The Yankees threatening. Sojo turned a bunt and took a strike. It was a safety squeeze, and Martinez dropped the breaking ball in there for strike 1. Strawberry is the runner at third. He started the inning with a single, went to third on a base hit by Jorge Posada. The runner at first. The 1 strike to Sojo. High fly in right. Nixon the catch. Strawberry the tag. Nixon's throw cut off, and New York leads 1-0. Really no chance for Nixon with the ball hit past medium range right field by Sojo.
That's exactly what we're talking about. A guy that does not strike out very much. Sojo, no way he was going to go to 2 strikes in that at bat after punching out back in the 3rd inning. He makes contact, gets it deep enough to right field to get the run home. Power pitchers like Martinez would prefer to have those power hitters at the plate in those situations than the guy that's just going to put the bat on the ball. Here's the throw by Nixon, but not nearly in time, and it'll be cut off by Movon at first base.
1 run, 4 hits for the Yankees. No runs, 2 hits for the Red Sox in the bottom of the 5th inning. Now it's Posada at first with 2 outs for Chuck Knobloch. Off-speed pitch for strike 1. Knobloch's 0 for 2.
One thing you have to be aware of here is the possibility of a delay steal. You have the leadoff man at the plate, 2 outs in the inning. Certainly Posada not a base stealer, but sometime that delay steal with the infield back with the 2 outs is effective.
Knobloch fouls one straight back, 0-2. So Martinez will need some help tonight from a Boston offense that has been woeful for the last 10 games. Strike 3. Knobloch knew it. 2 strikeouts in the inning, but the Yankees get a run on 2 hits. New York 1, Boston nothing after 5. This is the 68 Sports Red Sox Television Network. Summary is brought to you by your New England Subaru dealers. Subaru, the beauty of all-wheel drive. The Yankees lead 1-0. They just took the lead in the home half of the 5th inning. Luis Sojo's 12th RBI of the year came on a sacrifice fly with runners at first and third and 1 out. Darryl Strawberry had singled. Jorge Posada singled him to third. Then after Scott Brocious struck out, Sojo the sac fly. Meanwhile, the Red Sox have managed just 2 hits against Orlando Hernandez through 5 innings. They've got 2 other base runners as Hernandez has hit 2, and Paul O'Neill is 2 for 2 with 2 singles. He had the only Yankee hits prior to the 5th inning. Yankees, with their success this year, have had an excellent season at the box office. They're averaging over 36,000 fans per home date. They have a chance to draw 3 million in home attendance for the first time in Yankee history. They'll need to continue on this pace, and they're a little bit worried that it might tail off the last weekend of the season because Tampa Bay is here. Of course, the Yankees have long since clinched the American League East title. Darren Bragg, the batter, 2-0 the count. Bragg is singled to right and struck out. Darren had the first Red Sox hit as the leadoff hitter of the ball game. Nomar Garciaparra has the other, and that was a bloop single to right. And that's all the Red Sox have been able to muster against El Duque.
You know, in my opinion, Sean, when you look back at the last outing, El Duque against the Red Sox, they beat him up pretty good. Now, Bragg comes out in the first inning and gets a base hit. The next thing he does is he drills John Valentin. And since that time, not much offense for the Red Sox.
Do you think that might have been an early message from El Duque?
It possibly could. I mean, they gave him a lot of problems at Fenway Park. And then, of course, Bragg starts off with the base hit. And El Duque said, well, enough of this. I've got to get some of the plate back for me.
Hernandez will face Bragg, Valentin, and Vaughn here in the 6th inning. Well hit down the line, but hooking foul.
Of course, you look back to that first inning, Red Sox get a couple of base runners quickly, and then their 3 and 4 most productive hitters up, and they get a strikeout and a double play, and nothing on the board.
Hernandez has retired 5 in a row since the bloop single by Garciaparra in the 4th. The 2-2 to Bragg. He struck him out.
Well, again, it's the changeup. It's not a good changeup. It's up and away from Bragg, but Bragg's certainly a dead fastball hitter, and he'll not make contact on that pitch. Second time that he has punched out tonight with the 1 hit.
John Valentin takes a strike. He was hit by the pitch by Hernandez in the 1st inning, and he lined to center in the 3rd. That ended the inning. He was trying to deliver Scott Hatterberg from second base. Had the green light on a 3-0 pitch. 1-1 now on Valentin. In the air in center, but room for Williams. 2 outs.
Well, that's exactly what we talked about earlier. A lot of the great Yankee pitchers here at the stadium use center field to their advantage. Now, it's .399 as you go to that gap in left center field. That ball's hit pretty well by John Valentin, but a lot of room for Bernie Williams, and he'll make the play just in front of the warning track. He's played enough games here, pitched enough games here to know that that's not enough here at Yankee Stadium.
Mo Vaughn takes ball 1 low. Vaughn is struck out and fly to center. 1-0 New York in the 6th inning. Meanwhile, Toronto and Cleveland are now tied at 2 in the 7th inning in Cleveland. Red Sox start the night with a 3-game lead over the Blue Jays in the wild card race. That's high in the air and deep in left center field. Williams and Strawberry on the warning track. Strawberry missed it. Mo Vaughn was not running. He had stopped around first. Now he picks it up and makes it to third. Apparently Mo assumed that was going to be caught, or thought that it had been. He had almost come to a complete stop around first.
It probably should have been caught by Darryl Strawberry, but it gets off his glove, and then Bernie Williams and Strawberry just collapse on one another, and that gave Mo the time to get into third base. Strawberry had Williams pinned up against that wall, so he couldn't get up in time. And here's Mo. Maybe Mo thinks he's got a home run. Then he thinks he's out, and now he's got to go.
No scoring decision yet. And now they've scored at a triple. The second of the year by Vaughn. So he's at third with 2 outs. Garcia Parra, the batter. And he pops it up to straightaway center. The Red Sox have stranded 4. 1-0 New York, heading to the bottom of the 6th. Back after these words from your local stations along the 68 Sports Red Sox Television Network. 1-0 Yankees as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Pedro Martinez will face Derek Jeter, Paul O'Neill, and Bernie Williams. Jeter has struck out twice. Martinez has fanned 6 tonight. He's 1 away from tying Roger Clemens for the American League lead in strikeouts. He started the night 7 behind Clemens, who is not pitching tonight. A bullet down to third, but gobbled up by Valentin. 1 out. Let's head back to our studios and get an update from Doug Brown.
Indeed, Sean, we do have an update from Cleveland. The Blue Jays were trailing 2-1 against the Indians, but they got an RBI single from Jose Cruz Jr. in the 6th, and then in the 7th, off Dwight Gooden, this solo home run crushed by Darren Fletcher. It is now 3-2 for the Jays, still playing the 7th at the Jays. Back to Sean and Jerry.
Thank you, Doug. Texas and Baltimore are scoreless in the 7th inning tonight. In Baltimore, Paul O'Neill looks at a ball low. Texas starts the night 4.5 behind the Red Sox. O'Neill has singled twice. Once to right, once to left. Fastball just outside. 2 balls, no strikes. Not a good-looking swing by O'Neill. Wonder if he was expecting something else. You wouldn't think so at the count 2-0. I think he'd be looking for the fastball. That's what it looked like he got.
Yeah, I think maybe a different zone he was looking in, a middle in. Instead, he got that fastball away. I don't know why he'd look for Pedro's changeup anyway.
O'Neill asks out. Tampa Bay leads Anaheim 2-0 tonight in the 8th inning. Of course, that's a big game in the West, with Anaheim leading the Rangers by just 1 game. Two balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Bottom of the 6th inning. The Red Sox trail 1-0. Another foul ball and a high fastball. Final game of this series is tomorrow night at 7:30. Nesson will have the game for you. Tim Wakefield will make the important start, and he'll be opposed by Mike Jerzembeck. He'll be making just his 2nd Major League appearance and his 1st Major League start. So you'd think that would be working in the Red Sox favor, but the way things are going, you never know. And sometimes those guys who come up from the minors that you heard little or nothing about can be troublesome.
Yeah, I think players overall would rather face pitchers that they have faced in the past and know what they're doing. You see a rookie pitcher out there, generally it takes one time through that lineup before you really have a pretty good read on him. Torrey just moving all his pitches back, very similar to what the Red Sox have done a number of times this season.
O'Neill golfed one down to first. Vaughn waves Martinez away. Well, for a while, the Yankees, even though they were in cruise control in the American League East, were playing with an eye toward the all-time record for wins in a season. But as they've stumbled lately, that record really is not the goal now. It's highly unlikely, and Joe Torre admits that they're in a playoff preparation mode right now.
Yeah, matter of fact, looks like he may have just told Strawberry that we're going to have somebody hit for you next time, or hit, and then someone's going to go in defensively.
Bernie Williams a swing and a miss for strike one. He's 0 for 2. His fly to right and grounded to second. Yankees at the moment 59 games above 500. Their season high is 62 games over the 500 mark, a level which they have achieved 6 times prior to this year. In the Yankees, the last team in the majors to be 62 games over 500, the 1954 Cleveland Indians, a team that finished 68 games over at 111 wins and 43 losses. The ball low, 2-2. That's 62 games over, the best mark for a Yankee team since the end of the 1927 season, when that club finished 66 games over at 110 and 44. And of course, the record that they had in mind for a while, the Cubs 1906 team, which won 116 games but lost in the World Series to the White Sox. The Indians won 111 and 54. They lost in 4 straight to the New York Giants. The 1909 Pirates did win the World Series, beating the Tigers, and the 27 Yankees won the World Series in 4 straight over the Pirates. Well, there's no guarantee of postseason success with a huge regular season win total. Base hit for Williams. A 2-out single, the 5th hit of the night for New York. The Yankees have a 2-out base runner in the 6th inning as they lead 1-0.
Top 2 hitters in the league standing right over there at first base. Bernie Williams, who leads the league, and Mo Vaughn, who came into the game tonight 2nd in the league. Bernie took that 3-2 pitch right back up the middle for the base hit, his first hit of the night, and 5th overall for the New York Yankees.
Chili Davis at the plate. Quick throw to first.
14 stolen bases for Bernie. He's been caught 8 times on the season.
Ball low and away. Chili Davis was out for a long time, but he's involved in a number of pursuits away from baseball that keep him busy. He's involved in ownership of some restaurants. Grounded to second. Sadler flips to Garcia Parra to end the inning. Heading to the 7th, still 1-0 New York on the 68 Sports Red Sox television network.
Oh, how happy you have made me. Your New England Ford dealers are making people happy one great deal at a time during factory authorized clearance.
This is the best price I've ever seen on an Explorer.
That's a $299 a month lease on the Ford Explorer Sport 4x4 with air, automatic transmission, CD stereo, and more.
Hey, Explorer is the best thing out there.
Oh, how happy you have made me. Only $299 a month on Ford Explorer Sport during your New England Ford dealer's factory authorized clearance.
Zero pressure Michelin. So revolutionary it won't go flat. Even with the puncture the size of a golf ball. Letting you drive up to 50 miles at 55 miles per hour. Just what you'd expect from Michelin.
Napoleon.
We cannot wait for Waterloo to dry. We must attack now.
Cellular Ones led the way in wireless phone service from the start. And while we got it to you as quickly as possible, just think if we'd gotten it to you sooner.
Okie dokie. And the rest, as they say, is history.
Tonight's pitching summary is brought to you by Wendy's. Try our fresh stuffed pitas, and tremendous pitching matchup tonight from the stadium. Pedro Martinez in the 6th innings, the 1 earned run. That on the Soho sacrifice fly. No walks and 6 strikeouts. And El Duque, Orlando Hernandez, also no walks in this ball game with 5 strikeouts. Only allowed the 3 hits. 80 pitches on the night for El Duque.
The fresh stuffed pita sounds pretty good right about now.
Yes.
We had a long day today. Drove down from Boston. Nice day for a drive through Massachusetts, Connecticut, a little bit of New York State. Chad Curtis into the ball game to replace Darryl Strawberry. Joe Torre trying to improve the defense with a 1-run lead in the late innings. 7th inning, Troy O'Leary leads off. Looping breaking ball high. O'Leary is flied to center and grounded to second. Mike Stanley on deck, then Trot Nixon due up. The ball low, 2-0. There's a strike. Neither pitcher has issued a walk, as Jerry just showed you on the Wendy's pitching summary. Well, Leary had the count in his favor, but was fooled by the 2-1 pitch, and hit a weak pop-up into shallow left, and Jeter caught it.
Well, again, that's that changeup, the third best pitch for Hernandez, but it's been much better tonight in this ball game. He's got a lot of lefties to make out on that pitch. Watch O'Leary reach down and away for this and just pop it up to Jeter at shortstop. Way out in his front foot, nothing left, and hard to generate any power that way.
Mike Stanley is swinging a miss. He's had a difficult time with the delivery of Hernandez tonight. He is struck out and grounded out. I would think that would get tiring for El Duque. They have to go through that much energy expenditure to wind up every time. That takes a little effort to get that leg up there way in front of him.
Hey, one thing, he better stretch out good before a ball game. He could pull a muscle doing that. Has to be effective, though. He's done a very nice job tonight, deceiving the hitters, mixing up his pitches, and throwing strikes.
And he blows away Stanley.
But I'll tell you what, Sean, when I watched him pitch, I'd heard an awful lot about him. And the last time I saw him pitch at Fenway, I was not impressed at all by El Duque. But this is a different guy here tonight. There's that fastball outside part of the plate. Keep it away from the right-handed hitter. That big high leg kick, kind of a sidearm delivery.
That hurt my hip just watching the replay. Red Sox running out of time to do damage to Hernandez. 2 outs in the 7th, and Trot Nixon takes a strike. Nixon has bounced back to the mound and struck out. This Red Sox fans first heard of Trot Nixon a long time ago when he was the Red Sox first-round draft pick back in 1993. Still just 24 years old. And that's a well-hit ball picked up by Knobloch. A nice play on the outfield grass to complete the 1-2-3 inning. 7th inning stretch at Yankee Stadium. New York 1, Boston nothing on the 68 Sports Red Sox television network.
This is Imagine TV.
Appearing now during Mercury Drive-In Days, the under-21 Grand Marquis gets the highest 5-star rating in U.S. government crash tests for $20,836. Fans of the newly restyled Grand Marquis all over New England couldn't agree more. Right now, for just $20,836, it's time to see the full-length, uncut V8-powered Grand Marquis at your Mercury dealer. But hurry, the Mercury Drive-In closes soon.
Till next time, imagine yourself in a Mercury.
Break through to the new world of Mach 3 from Gillette, the first triple blade shaving system. 3 blades specially positioned to shave progressively closer. You take 1 stroke, it takes 3. So you don't have to shave the same area over and over, which means less irritation. 3 blades, fewer strokes, less irritation. Mach 3 from Gillette.
I feel Hyundai has improved their product tremendously. I've never had a car that was more dependable. Get in it, sit in it, drive it, and you'll see what I mean.
For a limited time, you can get the roomy Sonata with air conditioning and stereo cassette for as little as $11,999. But you better hurry down to your Hyundai dealer. These deals are going real quick. You could get the Sonata for as little as $11,999 during the Hyundai Real Sale.
1-0 New York on the Dunkin' Donuts scoreboard. Bottom of the 7th, and Chad Curtis will bat for the first time. He entered the ballgame at the top of the inning as a defensive replacement for Darryl Strawberry. Curtis hitting .247. 9 homers, 52 runs batted in. A high fastball from Martinez. Yankees lead 1-0. They've out-hit the Red Sox 5-3. Orlando Hernandez has been just a little bit better than Pedro Martinez. He joined us late. The only run in this game in the Yankee 5th inning. Darryl Strawberry started the inning with a single to right. Jorge Posada single to right, sending Strawberry to third. Then after Martinez fan Scott Brocious, Luis Sojo hit a sacrifice fly to right, bringing in Strawberry with the only run of the game. The Red Sox have not had many great opportunities to score. Looked like a promising night back on the top of the first when the first 2 Red Sox reached. Movon struck out, and Omar Garcia Parra grounded into a double play. Red Sox got men in scoring position in the 3rd and 4th innings, and a 2-out triple from Movon in the 6th. But once again tonight, they haven't been able to come up with the timely RBI hit. Curtis to right center. They'll have to hurry to cut it off. Bragg does. Then he falls down, and Curtis is into second.
Well, it kind of figures the way things have gone for the Red Sox. You have a defensive replacement put in the game in Chad Curtis, and he comes up with a double. Inside-out swing on the inside fastball. Here is the slip by Darren Bragg. I don't think it would have mattered because Curtis, with his speed, was headed to second base anyway.
Curtis at second. We'll see how the Yankees play it with Posada. Valentin's in on the grass. Vaughn, a couple steps back of the bag at first. Posada grounded to short in the second. Single to right as a part of their run-scoring inning in the fifth. Well, there's good news to report from Cleveland. The Indians have come back to take a 5-3 lead over the Blue Jays. They are now in the top of the 8th inning at Jacobs Field. Action in the Red Sox bullpen for the first time tonight. Derek Lowe is warming up. Martinez with the 1-0. Big swing and a miss by Posada. He'll be followed by Brocious. There's Lowe in the Boston bullpen.
Right here, Posada trying to find something that he can pull to advance Curtis to third base in this one-run ball game. Awful tough to pull that last fastball tailing up and away from him.
Texas and Baltimore still scoreless. They're now in the 8th inning at Oriole Park. Posada sends it out of play to the left. And Anaheim has rallied. The Angels were behind at Tampa Bay 2-0 in the late innings, but they now lead the Devil Rays 4-2 in the 8th. Obviously, with the way the Red Sox offense is going, another run here by the Yankees would be huge. The 1-2. Fouled out of play to the left.
Well, when the Red Sox needed Pedro to come up big, he's pitched a fine ball game here tonight.
A lot of talk about this is why you pay him $75 million, why he makes $12 million a year. Well, he has lived up to the role of the frontline starter tonight. Has allowed just one run. His mates to this point have come up empty against Orlando Hernandez. Another 1-2 to Posada. He struck him out with a breaking ball in the dirt. Hatteberg throws down to Vaughn for the out. It's a strikeout. The play goes 2-3. 7 strikeouts tonight for Pedro Martinez, and he's now tied with Roger Clemens for the American League lead with 234 apiece.
Okay, now here's a situation. We'll watch the strikeout first on the curveball. A nice block by Hatteberg. He'll get the out at first base. But here's a situation where those Red Sox middle infielders really have to pay attention to Curtis. You got the right-hander here at the plate. 1 out. That's generally when a guy will try to steal third base. And Curtis, 21 steals on the season, so he needs some attention out there at second.
Scott Brocious, the batter. 1-0 Yankees in the 7th. They have out-hit the Red Sox 6-3. Neither team has made an error. Ball 1 apparently high. Brocious robbed of a hit on a diving catch by Darren Bragg in center field. In the 3rd, he struck out swinging with runners at 1st and 3rd and nobody out in the 5th inning. But Soho picked him up when he followed with a sacrifice fly. Luis Soho is on deck right now. Sadler trying to sneak in behind Curtis, and the throw not in time.
See, with nobody out, Sean, he's not likely to steal, especially with a left-handed hitter at the plate. He's going to give that guy a chance to move him over. But with 1 out, now it becomes his responsibility, if he can get a jump, to get to third base with less than 2 outs.
Willie Randolph is their third base coach. Ball low to Brocious. Hatteberg goes to the mound with the count now 2-0. chopper foul. It's really an amazing season for Brocious. We mentioned earlier, 87 runs batted in, all of them coming from the 7th, 8th, and 9th spots in the batting order. He was named to the All-Star team as a reserve by the American League manager Mike Hargrove. First time he went to the All-Star game, he went 1 for 2. He dumps down in shallow center for a hit. Curtis is waved around. Bragg's throw is not in time. And he airmailed the cutoff man, Mo Vaughn. So Brocious is at second. And that could be a big play. Hard to tell from our angle if Mo had a chance to cut that, but it looked like a ball that should have been cut if possible, because it didn't appear to have much of a chance, really any chance, of getting the runner.
The small things you do turn into wins, and in that case, Chad Curtis, who was at second base, knew exactly where Bragg was playing. He knew there was no chance when that ball was hit that anybody was going to catch it, so he didn't even have to hesitate. He was at full speed at contact, and that's why he'll score the run. Now, here's the throw. It's going to be up over the head of Mo Vaughn. He really did not have a chance to cut that ball off, and another man gets in a scoring position.
And Brocious heads to third as Soho bounces out to the shortstop, Garcia Parra. So Brocious is at third. It was a single for Brocious and an RBI. He took second on the throw. And when things aren't going well, sometimes they can snowball. We saw in that play, the ball ran up Bragg's arm. He juggled it for a minute. Darren has a very strong arm. If he fields that ball cleanly and then doesn't have to take the extra stumbling step, he does have a chance to throw out Chad Curtis, because we saw beautifully on the replay that Curtis was just about at the third base bag as Bragg was fielding it in shallow center. But the ball ran up his arm and then he stumbled, and there was no chance after that.
And of course, if he hit the cutoff man, that last ground ball is probably a double play to end the inning.
Now Chuck Knobloch sends it out of play to the right. Tough times for Jimmy Williams, and we talk about how things snowball. He's also not feeling very well physically. He obviously is bothered by some sort of a bad cold. We tried to downplay that when we were talking with him before the game, but he obviously was not feeling very well. One ball, one strike.
He had a question in his office today from, I guess, a New York writer who talked about Nomar being compared to Joe DiMaggio, and Jimmy's answer was, well, you'll have to ask Joe DiMaggio or somebody else, because I didn't see DiMaggio play.
Well, Ted Williams was the one who made the comparison.
That's right.
And the writer mentioned that, and Jimmy said, well, you should go ask Ted Williams, because he's the one who made that point. Chuck Knobloch takes a strike. Jimmy was also asked about reading the newspapers. He doesn't read the papers, says he doesn't listen to the talk show. He said, well, have you heard any comments from fans as you go around town? But they expressing their anxiety. He said, no, I have tinted windows in my car. And I put the radio up real loud just in case. And he was in good humor before the game, but we'll see how long that lasts if this slide continues.
On that subject of talk shows, of course, Don Zimmer always listened to the talk shows back in Boston. So Jimmy said, well, maybe I'll give him a call over there and see what they're saying.
That definitely drove Zimmer to the point of major distraction. Now the 2-2. Swing and a miss, but it gets away from Hatteberg. And it's 3-0. Brocious scores from third on a strikeout when Hatteberg couldn't squeeze. Strike 3.
Looks like the changeup from Martinez. It's going to be down and away. Hatteberg reaches across the body. Cannot make the play. And when you're hot, you're hot. When you're not, you're not. You get a strikeout to end the inning. It gets back to the backstop. They get another run. And now blocks at first base.
Scored a strikeout on a wild pitch, but that's a ball Hatteberg has to come up with. When you're cruising along for most of the year, the balls boxed around by the catchers don't seem like they're that big a deal. But late in the season now, when every miscue is costly, the fact that the Red Sox catchers mishandle more than their fair share relative to other major league catchers really is pronounced now.
You wonder why, too, that Hatteberg will be set up inside on a changeup. That's not exactly where Pedro would want to put a changeup against a right-handed hit. He wanted that ball to be away, exactly where the pitch was. And there's a little bit of a break there.
Yes, the Indians leading 6-3 now as Richie Sexson has homered for Cleveland. They're still in the 8th inning. Derek Jeter takes ball 1 low. Here it's 3-0 New York in the 7th. They've scored twice here in the 7th. And all the little things the Red Sox did so well for so much of the season, suddenly they are unable to do any of those things. The runner goes. The pitch a strike. The throw not in time. Knobloch had an excellent jump. And he has his 28th stolen base of the year, tied with Jeter for the Yankee team high.
Yeah, keep the pressure on. You might as well. You've got a couple of runs in this inning. You get the last run where everybody kind of drops their head. They can't believe it happens. Keep the pressure on, and that's exactly what the Yankees are doing.
Now Knobloch is in scoring position with 2 outs. 0-1 to Jeter. Bounce down the line, foul. Jeter 0 for 3 tonight against Martinez. Terrific ratio, 75 strikes, just 29 balls. Anaheim and Tampa Bay are in the 9th inning now. The Angels lead 4-2. They lead Texas by a game in the West. And of course, if Texas overtakes them, then Anaheim becomes a factor in the wild card race. Strike 3, pitch at the knees. Jeter called out. He doesn't like it as he fans for the 3rd time. And he's 0 for 4. He's still saying something back in the direction of Brian O'Nora. 3-0 New York after 7 on the 68 Sports Red Sox television network.
Mud holes, dirt roads. Most people wouldn't think of driving through stuff like that. But then that's the beauty of Subaru all-wheel drive. It automatically transfers power from the wheels that slip to the wheels that grip, which means it does the thinking for you.
Sorry, mate. Guess I wasn't thinking.
Every day, new communications companies enter the picture. And while these outsiders may try to lure you away, don't be taken. In our neck of the woods, only Bell Atlantic has the local experience and know-how to meet any communications challenge, no matter how far-flung. Wild things are happening. Bell Atlantic. We'll see you there.
Nothing great was ever done without an active decision. Still, it's good to be cautious, especially when someone hands you $1,200 in cash just for buying a Toyota Tacoma 4x4, or $1,500 when you buy a 4x2, or they entice you with financing as low as 2.4% APR. Oh, you should ask why. But remember, no one has ever been blamed for making the right decision. Don't miss the final Toyota clearance at your New England Toyota dealer.
Red Sox Baseball, brought to you by the new Dodge, by the Bell Atlantic Yellow Pages, and by your New England Toyota dealer.
Joe Kerrigan huddling with Pedro Martinez at the far end of the Red Sox dugout. Pedro upset as he came off the mound moments ago. Had a brief conversation with Kerrigan and fired a cup around the dugout. You can see Pedro still muttering to himself as he walks away.
Sean, I think what you're seeing here is the frustration that goes through a ball club when you don't score runs. Pitchers feel like they have to be perfect with everything. They can't make one mistake in a ball game. You have an example of a guy being struck out, but the ball goes back to the backstop. Here comes another run. Everything has to work perfect when you're in this offensive slump, and it's a tremendous burden on every one of those pitches.
And on the defense as well, Scott Hatteberg lines one foul. He's quickly in the hole 0-2 as he begins the 8th inning. The Red Sox down by 3. And really, the players and Jimmy Williams will tell you, Jerry, a lot of what they've accomplished has been because of the good team chemistry. They play hard. They pull for each other. But this is the most serious test to that chemistry now. It's easy to be a harmonious bunch when everything is coming up roses, so to speak.
Sean, to me, that's one of the most overrated things that I've ever heard in baseball. There's always great chemistry on good teams, and bad teams, it's not supposed to be so good.
Knobloch throws out Hatteberg. 1 out in the 8th. Midre Cummings is going to come up to hit for Donnie Sadler.
Attention, please.
I think the best thing you can hope for when you have 25 the guys together from the beginning of February is that they somewhat get along.
Number 29.
Because I'm from the old 25 players, 25 cab teams.
Yes, you were. That's why I was so flattered that you decided to drive down with me today.
Hey, you're better than going in an airplane, I'll tell you that.
Midre Cummings batting for Sadler, who was 0 for 1 with a sacrifice bunt. Midre hitting .297 in 111 at bats. He has 33 hits, including 5 homers. He had a pinch hit home run over the weekend in the Tigers series. And he hits that to left, not deep enough. Chad Curtis there. The Red Sox are down to their final 4 outs in this one. And they're going quietly at the moment as Hernandez has retired 6 in a row. He's also retired 13 of the last 14 Red Sox hitters. The Red Sox have just 3 hits. Darren Bragg singled to lead off the ball game into right field. And Omar Garcia-Parra with a bloop hit over the head of the first baseman Soho in the 4th. And Mo Vaughn with a triple on the ball that was misplayed by Darryl Strawberry. Easily could have been caught. And also could have been scored an error. And that's it. Bragg bounces one foul back at the plate.
Derek Lowe throws again in the Red Sox bullpen.
Strike 2. 0-2. John Valentin on deck. 3 runs, 7 hits New York. No runs, 3 hits for Boston. Hernandez has completed 2 of his previous 18 starts. He has not thrown a shutout as a major leaguer. He's 4 outs away from one tonight. Make it 3 as Bragg strikes out. And Posada tagged him out to end the inning. The bottom of the 8th is upcoming. We'll be back after these words from your local sponsors along the 68 Sports Red Sox television network.
For over 50 years, the folks at Worcester Brothers have been providing customers in the greater Lincoln area with a variety of services, from automatic delivery of heating fuels, plumbing and heating equipment, sales and service, to complete automotive repair. And now a mini-mart featuring Green Mountain coffee, snacks, and other beverages. Worcester Brothers is your Northern Penobscot County authorized dealer for the popular Monitor vented heating systems and the Monitor on-demand water heaters. For convenience and friendly service, it's Worcester Brothers at 136 Main Street in Lincoln. Phone 794-6544 for more information.
When you're in need of auto glass replacement, see the professional installers at Rice Glass. Rice Glass offers affordable service and will pay $100 or more towards your insurance deductible. With the largest inventory north of Portland, Rice Glass replaces all types of auto glass and offers free pickup and delivery and fast, friendly service. When you're in need of auto glass replacement, see the professional installers at Rice Glass, 563 Audlin Road, Bangor. See our ad in the Bell Atlantic Yellow Pages.
Back at Yankee Stadium, a 3-0 Yankee lead as we move to the bottom of the 8th on the Dunkin' Donuts scoreboard. If you're watching us on the flagship station, here's a program reminder. Be sure to tune in every weeknight at 10 for Sports Night with your host Butch Stearns, only on Channel 68.
Changes for the Red Sox. Lou Merlone returns to action as the second baseman after Cummings hit for Donnie Sadler. It's Merlone's first game since June 28th in Miami against the Florida Marlins. And perhaps this is the reason Pedro Martinez was upset after Joe Kerrigan spoke with him in the dugout at the end of the last inning. Derek Lowe takes over for Pedro.
Lowe making his 57th appearance of the season. He last worked against the Tigers a couple of days ago, retiring all 4 batters he faced in that ball game.
His first pitch, a strike to Paul O'Neill. 3-0 New York. Martinez went 7 innings, allowed 3 runs on 7 hits. He did not allow a walk. He struck out 9. He threw a wild pitch on that ball that got past Hatterberg on strike 3 that led to a run being scored. O'Neill pulls one a mile foul up into the upper deck. Big crowd tonight, 42,735. One interesting aspect of the Yankees' attendance this season, of course, George Steinbrenner has been trying to move out of the Bronx, get a new stadium built, maybe in Manhattan. There's been talk about New Jersey. He did tell the folks here in the Bronx, if we draw 3 million in the Bronx and we prove we can do that, then maybe we'll talk more seriously about doing something here. Well, now they do have a chance to draw 3 million, and many in this area thought George Steinbrenner thought there was no way they'd draw 3 million at Yankee Stadium. That's why he made the comment. So if they do reach 3 million, we'll see how George responds.
You know, I was a little surprised by the size of the crowd here tonight, too, because you've got a team, obviously, the Yankees are already in postseason play. The Red Sox are well behind them. And we've seen many crowds when one team's not in it. You know, very small here at the stadium.
Close pitch called a ball. 2-2. They're now in the top of the 9th. The Indians still lead Toronto 6-3. So that score stands, and if this one stands, the Red Sox lead would still be 3, and another game would be off the schedule. The Orioles also lead the Rangers tonight now 1-0. Baltimore scored a run in the 8th inning. Texas started the night 4.5 back. Believe it or not, here come the Orioles again.
Yeah, what are they, 7.5?
7.5 out. So if that score stands and this one stands, they're 6.5 out. Of course, they have 6 games left against the Red Sox. The problem for Baltimore is that they also have the 2 other teams in between. And this late in the season, that's too much of an obstacle to overcome, you would think. But we were also saying that about the Toronto Blue Jays not long ago, when they were 10 games back. They traded off some of their key players, at least players we thought were key players at the time, like Randy Myers, Juan Guzman, and Mike Stanley. And with the youthful new look lineup, the Jays have gained a lot of ground. Think of what might have happened if the Red Sox had just won 1 game of the 4 in Toronto.
You know, I keep thinking back to the first game of that series when they faced Woody Williams, and Woody Williams to me that night was very hittable, and the Red Sox couldn't do anything with him, and it just snowballed the rest of the weekend.
3-2. He lost O'Neill. Ball 4 inside. The first walk in this game. Interesting that Pedro did get the hook. He had thrown just 107 pitches, 77 of them strikes.
142 last time, I believe, with the extra day's rest coming into this one. I think Pedro, watching him work after that strikeout and the run scored, looks like his head dropped. And it looked like maybe that was the correct time to get him out of there. The frustration settling in.
And it's hard to blame him for that. No offensive support, and then the defense breaks down on him a little bit too. Bernie Williams, the battery, single to center last time up, 1 for 3. His league leading average, 338. 3-0 New York, the lead man on in the 8th inning. The Red Sox in the 9th have the 2, 3, and 4 hitters due up, Valentin, Vaughn, and Garcia Parra. And at the moment, no action in the Yankee bullpen. No reason to get them going the way Hernandez has dominated the Red Sox hitters tonight. A game in Baltimore is now a final. The Orioles have defeated Texas 1-0. And that's a big loss for Texas with the race in the American League West and the wild card race involving them. Slowly to short. Nomar has to go to first for the out. Anaheim still leads Tampa Bay 4-2 in the 9th inning in St. Petersburg. Paul O'Neill now at second with 1 out in the bottom of the 8th. The Yankees trying to add to their 3-0 lead. Chili Davis, the hitter, 0 for 3 tonight. Fly to left, fly to center, and grounded out. Ball 1 just missed. Fouled off to the left.
Looks like we are now starting to get some throwing down in that bullpen for New York. It looks like it might be Mariano Rivera loosening up. I don't believe he's pitched in a game since that series at Fenway Park. I don't think he was used at all over the weekend against the Blue Jays.
David Wells, David Cohn. 2 Cy Young candidates in the American League. Sitting side by side in the Yankee dugout. Martinez had a chance to move into a tie for the major league lead and wins tonight. If he could have earned the victory, but obviously he will not get a win tonight. David Cohn tied with Rick Helling of Texas for the major league lead and wins with 19 apiece. Davis hits it right to Lou Merlone. And he throws him out. Well, we talk about games coming off the schedule, and at this time of the year, perhaps that's as important as anything else. Here's the schedule for remaining games after tonight. The Red Sox will have 14 games left, 6 on the road, including tomorrow night's game. Toronto, 13 games left. They have 2 more against Cleveland, 5 against Detroit, 3 with Tampa Bay, and 3 with Baltimore. Texas, 13 left, 5 of those against Anaheim. And it's likely that the race in the West will come down to those 5 games. Texas with 2 more with Baltimore, 3 with Oakland, 4 with Seattle. Anaheim is the 5 with Texas, 2 with Tampa Bay, 3 with Seattle, 4 with Oakland. One strike on Chad Curtis. He came in for defense in the 7th inning. And his first at bat in the bottom of the 7th, doubled into the gap in right center and scored the 2nd run of the ball game. He scored on a single by Scott Brocious. Low missed inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. 2 outs, a man at third in the 8th. The Yankees lead 3-0. The ball low. From low. And a chopper foul. Let's pause for station identification. This is the 68 Sports Red Sox Television Network.
You're watching Red Sox baseball on WABU-TV.
Nothing New York in game 1 of a 2-game series. Sean McDonough and Jerry Remy at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. Tonight's game produced and directed by Tom Tedisco, our graphics producer David Torres, Christine Charbonneau assisting us here in the booth. And the sinker dribbled foul again by Curtis. Derek Lowe's 2-2. He struck him out. Again, Hatteberg will have to throw down to first. And the strikeout ends the inning, as the Yankees leave a man at third. Last chance for the Red Sox. John Valentin will get them started and move on to Nomar Garciaparra. Also due up. 3-0 New York on the 68 Sports Red Sox Television Network.
Introducing a sports sedan that sets a new standard of performance and a touring sedan that sets a new standard of luxury. Here they are. Introducing the new TL with the satellite-linked navigation system from Acura.
Governor Sallucci has made public safety job 1.
I think he's taking steps in the right direction with education reform.
His tax cuts on an annual basis are even more than we got through.
He's a good, honest family man.
Paul Sallucci is a true fiscal conservative. I'm for Paul Sallucci. Joe Malone doesn't have the experience to be governor. Joe Malone has nothing nice to say about himself, so he takes a negative attitude. I haven't heard from him on any issue.
Governor Sallucci and Jane Swift are ready to lead Massachusetts.
I look forward to 4 more years of Governor Sallucci.
Paul Sallucci and Jane Swift.
Your New England Ford dealer's factory authorized clearance will make you happy with this great deal. Lease a fully loaded F-150 for just $317 a month.
Hey, if you're going to get a truck, you might as well get the best, right?
That's a 4x4 Super Cab with a Triton V8 loaded with automatic transmission, air conditioning, power windows and locks, cruise control, and much more.
It's tough, powerful. It's got more standard power than any truck out there.
Just $317 a month. Hurry to your New England Ford dealer's factory authorized clearance.
Red Sox baseball, brought to you by the new Dodge. See the friendly Dodge dealer near you. And by Wendy's. Try one of Wendy's fresh stuffed peanuts.
The Red Sox down 3-0 as we go to the 9th. Regardless of the outcome of this game, the Red Sox will not see their lead shrink in the wild card race. As in Cleveland tonight, the Red Sox got help from the Indians. They have defeated the Toronto Blue Jays by a score of 6-3, just the 3rd loss for Toronto in their last 17 games. So the lead will be at the very least 3 games tomorrow, and another game comes off the schedule. Baltimore beat Texas 1-0, so Texas will remain 4.5 behind the Red Sox if this score remains this way. And Anaheim has defeated Tampa Bay tonight, so the Angels lead goes back to 2 in the West over Texas. John Valentin takes ball 1. It just missed the breaking ball from Orlando Hernandez. Valentin, Vaughn, Garcia, Parra coming up. Valentin's 0 for 2. 2 fly balls to center. He was hit by a pitch back in the first. He takes a strike. El Duque has retired 7 in a row. And 14 of the last 15 Red Sox hitters. Boston has had 2 base runners since the end of the 3rd inning. From the 4th on, 2 base runners. He has not walked anybody. He has fanned 7. He's ahead in the count here, 1-2.
Got that ratio. 31 balls, 72 strikes, and only 103 pitches here in the 9th inning.
Bidding for his first major league shutout. Strike 3, says Brian O'Nora.
If there's any ballpark in the American League, I think that umpires get caught up, especially late in the game, on those check swings. It's here at Yankee Stadium because those fans are on it right away. But that's a good call right there by O'Nora. No question John did not have control of the head of the bat.
Would you agree that of the outdoor stadiums, at least, this is the loudest?
Oh, this is a totally different crowd than anywhere else in baseball.
Yes. No question about it. Of course, playoff situations in Seattle, Minnesota, where they have the roof, the noise can be deafening, but there's nothing like the atmosphere here at Yankee Stadium. Even when the Yankees aren't very good, there's always that background roar, the fans always into the ball game. Mo Vaughn now behind in the count, 0-2. Mo had the gift triple in the 6th when Darryl Strawberry couldn't play the ball while backpedaling near the warning track. He has struck out and fly to center tonight as well. Many of the fans standing already for Hernandez with 1 out in the 9th. Ball outside, 1-2 on Vaughn. 3-0 Yankees, 9th inning. Low and away. Fastball inside. Well, it'll be interesting to see. We talk about how Joe Torre is already setting up his team for postseason. Be interesting to see how he ranks his starting pitchers right now, because lately Andy Pettit and Hideki Irabu have had a very tough time of it. Joe's already said that David Wells is being set up to start the first game of the postseason. Long chase the pitch in the dirt. 9 strikeouts for Hernandez.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about, Sean, about 2 weeks ago with the Red Sox, getting the thing clinched, the wild card clinched as early as possible, so they can set their rotation up for the first round. As it is right now, it looks like it's going right down to the wire. Well, we have a Derek Jeter admirer who ran on the field to take a picture.
Actually, 2 young girls.
Yeah.
We talked earlier about how he's a fan favorite here, particularly with the young ladies. 2 young ladies ran out onto the field, out to the shortstop position, and it looked like they wanted to give him a flower.
Yeah.
They got within a couple of feet of him, and the security folks picked them off.
First time I've ever seen him take him out through the bullpen area where the monuments are and stuff. Usually they take him up the runway through that third base dugout, and it's not pleasant.
It's usually drunk guys who get roughed up a little bit on the way down the tunnel. These 2 were escorted out to the bullpen. Nomar Garcia Parra trying to keep the Red Sox alive. He sends it in the air. Soho over to the tarp, climbs the tarp, can't get it. About 9 rows back. 3-0 Yankees. Red Sox on the verge of their third straight loss. Barring a serious dramatic comeback now, the Red Sox will have lost 5 of 6 and 9 of 11. But the good news tonight, the lead will remain at 3. With 14 to go for the Red Sox, 13 to go for the Blue Jays. Red Sox are actually 4 games ahead of Toronto in the loss column. Garcia-Parra to right center. Williams makes the catch on the warning track, and Orlando Hernandez has his first Major League shutout. The totals for tonight's game for the Yankees: 3 runs on 7 hits and no errors. They left 6 men on base. Red Sox, no runs, just 3 hits and no errors, and they left 4. Orlando Hernandez, his first Major League shutout, his 3rd complete game, as he improves his record to 10-4. And Pedro Martinez, the tough luck loser, now 18-6. Time of the ball game, 2 hours and 34 minutes before a crowd of 42,735. Red Sox have been in a slump for a while, so Hernandez had that working in his favor, and some nights it's tough to tell whether it's the hitters or the pitchers, but tonight it looked like you just had to tip your cap to Hernandez.
Yeah, this was a totally different guy that pitched at Fenway Park last week. Now, I don't know if he was sick last week or had a bad arm, whatever, but he wanted to come out of that game. The Red Sox were roughing him up. I think back, Sean, in the first inning, and I can't say it's intentional, but here's a guy that was getting beat up by Boston last week. Bragg starts the game off with a base hit. Now he sends a message to the rest of the Red Sox hitters. He nails Valentin with a pitch. Look, I'm going to get some of this play tonight, and man, did he ever take advantage of that from there on out. Really should have been only 2 hits in this game.
Yes.
Because that was a questionable call on the Vaughn triple.
It was, and of course one of the other hits for the Red Sox was that absolute bloop by Garcia-Parra. So really the one clean, solid hit by Bragg is the first batter of the ball game for the Red Sox, and that's it. The faces tell the story in the Boston dugout. The Red Sox lose 3-0. Our next telecast is Thursday night, Memorial Park at Camden Yards in Baltimore. Tune into Red Sox on Deck, beginning at 6:30. Now for Jerry Remy, Sean McDonough saying so long from Yankee Stadium. This has been a presentation of the 68 Sports Boston Red Sox Television Network. Doug Brown returns with more right after these messages.
Appearing now during Mercury Drive-In Days. It's the family favorite Mercury Sable LS Touring Edition with low 1.9 financing and $750 cash back. Plus $2,235 of no-charge extras, including leather seating surfaces, ABS, and moonroof. Added up, and this feature presentation still comes in $6,000 less than Camry XLE. But hurry, the Mercury Drive-In closes soon.
Till next time, imagine yourself in a Mercury.
Hey everybody, time for a Chi-Chi's workout. But today, we're not using Chi-Chi's salsa. We're using new Chi-Chi's salsa. It's a more thick, more zesty, fresh-tasting Chi-Chi's. Ready? And pull up and down. Pull up and down. Don't forget to breathe. See how it sticks to the chip? Now add the drink. So don't just sit there. Eat something. New Chi-Chi's. The new taste really works those abs.
Baseball, Boston's newest contact sport, and the Red Sox have bragging rights. No one throws their weight around right field and center field like Darren Bragg. Due to safety concerns, we rarely put him in left. He might hurt the wall. Visit Friendly Fenway this season. For tickets, call 617-267-1700. Boston Red Sox baseball. What a game.
Louisiana in 1803. Babe Ruth in 1914. A Van Gogh in 1888.
Infiniti G20 in 1998. What is a great buy?
They call.
Come to Rhino Linings, the truck bed liner alternative. Other liners can leave you with paint and body damage, but Rhino Linings can increase the value of your truck. This amazing truck bed liner is sprayed onto your truck bed for maximum protection. Rhino Linings are durable, prevent corrosion, and protect like no other. If you love your truck, then take care of it with Rhino Linings, the #1 sprayed-on bed liner system in the world. We also carry many truck accessories and trailer hitches. Rhino Linings, 563 Audland Road, Bangor.
Coming up this week on your night show from ABC7, it's Rich Grampanis and a musical guest, the Moon Puppies. That's this week on the night show, Saturday night at 11 o'clock, only on WBGR TV 33. This week's night show is brought to you in part by the Acadia Zoo at 667-3244. Customer press for every single one of your printing needs at 827-9881. And by Orono Medical Center. Give them a call at 866-5561.
And welcome back to our 68 Sports Studios here in Boston. I'm Doug Brown. Well, if you are a believer in omens, perhaps you thought, as a number of us did here, that right in the first inning maybe it wasn't going to be the Red Sox night. They got the first 2 runners on in the first inning against Orlando Hernandez. They did not score. The inning ended on a 4-6-3 double play after Mo Vaughn struck out for the first out. And then the very first Yankee batter in the bottom of the first, Chuck Knobloch, caused Donnie Sadler and Trot Nixon to bump into each other over by the tarp in right field foul territory at Yankee Stadium, the same tarp that caused Lou Merloni's knee injury back in May. So if you believe in those kind of things, perhaps you realize right in the first inning that it might not be the Red Sox night. And sure enough, even though they did have several chances to score with runners in scoring position, the Red Sox just could not come up with any big hits at the right time, although they only had 3 hits in the ball game. And that leads us right into our New England Toyota Dealers Player of the Game, brought to you by Toyota, where you'll find exceptional value every day. And was there ever any doubt about the selection in this ball game tonight? With the way the game went, you knew it had to be a pitcher, and it had to be El Duque. Orlando Hernandez of the Yankees throwing his first major league shutout, his 3rd complete game. He goes the distance, allowing just 3 hits, and one of those 3 hits could have been an error. No walks, 9 strikeouts. He did hit 2 Red Sox batters early in the ball game, but the Red Sox, for the 2nd day in a row, go down meekly at the end of a ball game as the last 10 batters were retired consecutively by Hernandez, who gets his 10th win in his rookie season, 10-4, now 3.25, the earned run average for El Duque, who has been so impressive. You'll recall that he got the start in Boston last Wednesday, the day that the Yankees clinched the American League Eastern Division title, but after being spotted a 5-0 lead, Hernandez did not get the win after giving up that grand slam by Scott Hatteberg. So he comes back with a big win tonight, and the Red Sox have now lost 9 of their last 11. The good news is from Cleveland, where the Blue Jays finally lost a game. We'll talk about that, give you all the Major League scores, and have highlights of this one from New York when we come right back. Don't go away.
Here's why all these major newspapers endorse Mike Capuano for Congress.
As mayor, I took personal responsibility for some of the schools. Today, we have only 19 kids per class. Test scores are up. We're building 6 new schools. Every school is going online. And this year, we start full-day kindergarten. All this without soaking the taxpayers. Hi, Dad. Hi, guys. So when Newt Gingrich tells you that we can't fix our public schools, I'm the guy to give them an education.
Mike Capuano, Democrat for Congress. The difference is results.
Before building automobiles, Saab built airplanes. And when you build airplanes, you learn how to handle turbulence.
Sir, here's today's cellular offer. The first 20 minutes of the first
first day part are free with each successive day part 24 cents a minute, except long distance, which reverts back to... Are you with me so far?
No, I'm not.
In the event that you'd like to switch...
Cellular phone offers are not always clear. But ever since Sprint PCS built the only all-digital nationwide network, everything is clear, including the offer.
Hello?
Sprint PCS is now just a dime anytime, including long distance.
Good.
Liz, are you still there, sir? Good.
Sprint PCS, the clear alternative to cellular.
We are back in our Red Sox studio. The Red Sox beginning their last road trip of the regular season. It's a 7-game tour through 3 different cities. And they started with the first of 2 in New York tonight with a 3-0 loss to the New York Yankees. In case you tuned in late, great pitching matchup tonight. We thought we might get one, and we did indeed. Orlando Hernandez for the Yankees, Pedro Martinez in a money start for the Red Sox. And he had a lot of Dominican supporters off their Sammy Sosa hangover out in the bleachers at Yankee Stadium. Well, we talked about this a moment ago. Bottom of the first inning, Donnie Sadler seems to have a foul pop lined up, but he gets banged from behind by Trot Nixon, who cut his tongue on the play. But Martinez comes back to get Knobloch with the strikeout, then Jeter with the strikeout. He did allow a single to Paul O'Neill, but got out of the inning without any further damage. No score in the third. Bernie Williams makes the gliding catch, mostly with the bare hand. And then Darren Bragg, in the bottom of the inning, makes a like catch. The Bernie Williams catch off Valentin. This one off Scott Brocious by Darren Bragg, getting the start in center field. And then how about this play? The Yankees up 1-0 after a Luis Sojo sac fly. Top of the 6th with 2 outs. Mo Vaughn flies to left. Strawberry loses his balance. It drops in, and Mo is chugging all the way around for a triple. It's a 2-out triple, but he got into scoring position. Now we'll watch Mo going around the bases. He thought this ball was going to be caught. He did get around first, kind of slowed down, figured it was the 3rd out. No, it isn't. And then he switches into high gear and gets over to 3rd with the triple. But he was stranded there. And then the Yankees get more in the 7th. It all started with a double by Darryl Strawberry, or rather by Chad Curtis, then the RBI single by Scott Brocious, and then a wild pitch on a strikeout to Chuck Knobloch right here. Should have been a pass ball, really, against Scott Hatteberg. That scored the 3rd run. 3-0 Yankees. And that was about it for Pedro. He left after 7 innings, even though he only threw 107 pitches. Meanwhile, El Duque just cruising. Bragg K's to end the 8th. And then in the 9th, the Red Sox go in order one more time as Nomar Garciaparra. After strikeouts to Valentin and Vaughn, Garciaparra flies out to Williams to end it 3-0 in favor of New York, the first Major League shutout for El Duque, Orlando Hernandez. Now to the Major League scoreboard.